Welcome, everybody, to Atlanta, Georgia, for the battle of the 2022 National League East. Blake Newsome, diehard Braves fan, joined by Mets Talk with Hayden, the diehard Mets fan, here to give you guys 9, maybe even extra innings of playoff atmosphere baseball live from Atlanta, Georgia. The New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves, two teams on bound for collision course for 100 wins and have been going neck and neck at each other for the last 6 months in the standings. It's all come down to tonight. Charlie Morton and Chris Bassett on the hill for a Sunday night ESPN showdown. There's football on. We don't care. We're going to buckle up and watch some early playoff baseball. Hayden, how you doing, man? I know it's a superstition day. I know your football team won earlier. My college and pro team won earlier, so I feel like both sports gods are on our side to this point in time. So tell me what's going through your mind, man. I know it's a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting day. Obviously, past couple days for MLB, and of course the teams that are hoping to be in the postseason have been very fascinating. Obviously, the NL East is definitely the most exciting division in baseball. There's no doubt about that. If you want to compare it to last year's NL West, you certainly can. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Obviously, today is, it's not, do or die, but I think, there's definitely less room for error today. And today will definitely be, I would at least say, a big factor to who wins this division. Obviously, there's 4 more games left, including today. So today will kind of ultimately decide who will take home the NL East crown for 2022. It's going to be a really interesting battle. Obviously, Mets were not able to get the job done the last 2 days. Very unfortunate in regards to both of them obviously having their Cy Young caliber playoff hopeful pitchers. And obviously, I think they did an adequate job. I mean, I think Scherzer and DeGrom were to an extent up to par. The long ball definitely crushed them. And, that's something we've seen from this Atlanta Braves team. I mean, they're a heavy strikeout to home run team. And that's really all they got the last 2 games. And the Mets, unfortunately, are not the biggest home run team. I mean, I get it. You have some guys like Alonso, like Escobar, like Lindor. But, I mean, it can only carry you so much. So, Mets needed to start getting rallies, getting singles, doubles, where we saw the Braves. Home run, home run, home run. Mets were just rallying with walks and singles. So the Mets, you got to do more than that. We'll see. Hopefully they can start to get into these 2-out rallies, hitting with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Something they've been getting very well adjusted to. So it's going to be very interesting battle tonight in regards to that team. Obviously, Mets fans I think Twitter overall is something that I would say for everyone's mental health should just stay off of tonight.
Yeah.
Very foolish website, app, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion.
And our fans hate each other so much, it's not even funny, going on there every time we play. It is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, Braves fans, Mets fans, I think all MLB fans on Twitter are just knuckleheads. I mean, they all think that they are GMs and sports owners, where in reality they don't know anything. But that's fine. Let them think that. When it comes to Mets, I guess, Mets Twitter, everyone's, saying collapse, collapse, collapse. And maybe not even Mets fans, but I see people on Twitter saying, lol, Mets, they collapsed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too many teams in history that have had a 98-win collapse. That'd be a pretty interesting. I mean, maybe if it was a 300-game season, then yeah. But, listen, when it comes to the NL East, and, I'll make this quick, but, when it comes to the, the NL East and the Mets, point is, it took 4 months for the Braves to catch back up to the Mets. That's not a collapse. Talk about a collapse. We're talking about 10 games coming back in, 2 weeks. That sounds like a collapse. It took the Braves 4 months to catch the Mets. That's not a collapse. I mean, you think about it like this. Last year, and maybe this argument could better the Braves, better the Mets, whoever the wild card team is, but last year, I like to use this example. Who won the NL West last year? The Giants. Who beat them in the NLDS? The Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
Did the Dodgers collapse because they didn't win the division? No. It was by 1 game.
They were still 2 games from the World Series.
Yeah, ultimately, probably we're going to see this division determined by 1 game, most likely. So it's not a collapse. People need to just shut up and relax. That's all I'll really say. Interesting matchup tonight. Mets, Braves. Let's get it.
Hey, man, I think what it really comes down to is on the shoulders of Charlie Morton. He's a playoff pitcher. He's been there and done that for the entirety of his career. But he's not had the greatest year for the Atlanta Braves coming off the broken leg. He is 38 years old, just got awarded a new contract of $20 million option for next year. Very intrigued to see what the Braves had in that decision. I guess if they want to have the best fifth starter in baseball, so be it. But, he's on the toe tonight for the Atlanta Braves, and I think Chris Bassett is definitely the most favorable pitcher in this matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw your guy Edwin Diaz out there for 2 or 3 innings tonight in this affair, knowing that it's all on the line for the New York Mets. And we are just about to get things underway. Brandon Nimmo coming to the plate. Everybody grab your popcorn and prepare for war on the baseball diamond. Braves and Mets, this is what you play it for. This is what October baseball should feel like. And Atlanta, of course, with a victory tonight, would get a sweep and the tiebreaker of the New York Mets getting a magic number of 1. But if you counter that with the New York Met victory, even though they would only salvage 1 game in the series, the Mets would get the tiebreaker and therefore have an advantage going into the final weekend in which both teams go play lower quality teams. The Washington Nationals go to Queens and the Braves go down to South Beach to see no Sandy Alcantara. But tonight means a lot. Charlie Morton already ready. 1-0 the count to Brandon Nimmo. 1-0 pitch in there for a strike, and we're even at 1. Making sure I'm not too far ahead or too far behind from you, Hayden. I can't really rewind to a huge degree. I'm making sure we're at least good enough.
Yeah, I would say we're synced up to a good extent.
1-1, swung on and missed, got him with the curve. And it's 1-2 to the Mets leadoff hitter. He's been a killer to the Braves all season. A guy that has gotten on base many times to lead off the game against us and has caused a lot of ruckus.
Well, I'll say this. Nimmo has not been a killer in that leadoff position lately, especially in the second half. Really getting frustrating in that leadoff hole. In my opinion, or I think a lot of Mets fans would agree. With Nimmo leading off, he's been rough. Obviously, he's swinging a lot more, which is definitely obviously making him walk less. And, he's swinging out a lot of sliders in the dirt. He's not getting on base as much as a lot of Mets fans like in the first inning.
On the ground, Arcia makes the play. 1 away. Go ahead, Hayden.
Pretty much what he does every first inning right there, that nonsense. So, when it comes to it, like I said, I really have no problem with McNeil leading off. I think if I were to bet $1 every time Nimmo grounded out, lead off, I'd probably be pretty wealthy. So, yeah. But like I said, right now, it's whatever.
Again, a reminder, these teams are 9-9 against each other in this season of play. So this game with all of the marbles regarding no game 163 this year, if there was, maybe you would look at it in a little bit of a different sense for both squads. But either way, a lot to play for tonight. First pitch into Francisco Lindor is down in the dirt. And the Mets 2-hole hitter in his second year of a 13-year deal. I believe, is it 12 or 13, Hayden?
It's 12.
12 years, okay. Second year of a 12-year deal.
Oh, 11, but it's
12
because of last year's contract.
In the blue and orange, right? So it's now 1-1 to the shortstop. Of course, the former Indian turned Guardian. The two prospects the Mets sent over, the 2 middle infielders, they talked about them a lot in our podcast here. They have a chance to go to the postseason as well. So great opportunities for both sides of that trade in the year of 2022. 1-1 from Charlie Morton in the dirt at 2-1 now. See the Mets lineup, of course. We talked about this a little bit, Hayden. Of course, Nimmo already leading off with the ground out. You got Lindor, McNeil, Alonso back in the cleanup spot, which I found a little bit interesting. Escobar,
that's how it should be.
I see. Escobar, of course, had the 5 RBI night on Wednesday. Turned the tides a lot in the National League East in that night. 2-2 down to Lindor. He's batting 5th at the third base spot. Daniel Vogelbach, the lefty who rakes in at the DH position, of course, at the bottom 3, rounding out Mark Canha, Luis Guillorme at second base with, of course, McNeil in right, and getting his first start of the series, James McCann over Tomas Nido. 2-2, 10th pitch on the way from Charlie Morton, and it is just inside. It looks like Travis Arnaud tried to frame it as good as it could be, but no call from the home plate umpire, and it's a full count here to Francisco Lindor, and that's something the Braves don't want to mess around with, knowing that you got McNeil and Alonso waiting. 3-2 to Lindor. That ball is back out to right. Acuna on the track, 2 steps, and he makes a catch about 3 footsteps in front of the wall. Whew, got me a little nervous on that one. Lindor looked like he might have got a little bit more of that one, maybe just got under it enough. And that will retire the first 2 in the top of the inning. Charlie Morton has had a lot of struggles with the home run ball this year. He's given up the most in his career. And, when he was a younger pitcher, he wasn't this elite playoff dominator that he is now. He was a 5.5 ERA guy. There's a reason the Braves got rid of him once before in his early days when Hayden and I were both younger. And he's looking to keep the ball in the yard tonight for success to Atlanta's ability. Here's McNeil, top of the first, nobody on. First pitch, swung on, out to second base, past Arcia for a 2-out single, and the flying squirrel will keep things going for the polar bear in the first inning now. So that 3-2 pitch to Morton ended up being a huge one because instead of having a situation where you have 2 guys on in the inning, Charlie's still 1 good pitch away from getting out of this first inning unscathed. Last night, of course, and, Friday night previously, the first 2 games in this series, the Mets have struck first in both of the games played so far, and I think the Braves are trying everything they can to not have to have a third straight night of comebacks. Now, Pete Alonso up to the plate, 40-plus homers for the Florida Gator alumni. First pitch from Charlie Morton, down and in. Of course, most RBIs at a single season in New York Mets history. Sure, he watched his Florida Gators win earlier today before coming into the field. As he awaits the 1-0 from Charlie Morton. Check swing. They're going to say he didn't go. And now 2-0 to Pete Alonso.
Yeah, it's something Alonso's been getting very better at is I think he went around.
I think he did go around.
Something he's been getting much better at is when it comes to the check swings. Whether that's laying off a pitch in the dirt or, for example, just on the corner. He's been we saw it in the A series. We saw it against the series in the Marlins. And obviously now this at bat, he's getting very better when it comes to, one, striking out. His chase rates definitely going up.
2-1.
I guess that makes up for the call.
True. Yeah, the pitch radar showing it was just inside. Travis Arnaud, one of the better framers in the league. Not the greatest arm-wise, It's hard to get people out in the base pass with the slower Braves windups. Plus, Travis not the best arm in the majors, but he at least is able to frame a pitch and manage a pitching staff enough to where Atlanta has kept him now for his third, and he has a 4th year on the contract coming up next year.
Yeah, definitely a lot of improvements from him since, obviously being part of the Mets and early April. I think the Mets got rid of him in May of 2019, and obviously that's when they promoted Wilson Ramos to be their full-time catcher. But before that with Arnaud, he didn't really, when it came to him as the Mets, he was I guess subpar offensive piece. Defensively wasn't. We saw what he caught. With that rotation of then DeGrom, Harvey, Wheeler. But, you never really saw the potential out of him. So, I'm really happy that he's doing well with the Braves. Definitely his defensive.
Ball 4 to Alonso.
And that'll be ball 4 for Pete. So, like I said, that's something we've been seeing a lot more from Alonso. We saw that. I think it was for ball 3. Laid off that pitch in the dirt. Bring the bat around 0.25%, 30%, and you know what? Keep doing it because it's resulting in him getting on base. And like I said, now you have a 5th hitter behind him in Escobar, who has been Mr. September. We'll see if he's Mr. Early October. But I'm really liking this 4-5 combination. The lineup's been mixed up way too much the last couple days, and this is a lineup that I'm actually fond of.
First pitch to Escobar. Looked like it might have been in the zone on the strike radar. It said so, but no call, 1-0. So Charlie Morton's gotten himself in a little bit of hot water here after retiring the first 2 men in the inning. Figured the ground out and the fly out now. The single and the walk gives Escobar a shot here in the top of the first inning. 2 on, 2 out. 1-0 to Escobar, foul down the right field line, and it's a foul ball strike. And even the count at 1. It's the 19th going on 20 pitch inning already for Charlie Morton. Something Kyle Wright had a not so great job at last night was controlling the pitch count throughout the majority of the ball game. And Charlie looking to do better in that fair, but so far, not so much. 1-1 to Escobar, once again grounded down the right field line and foul past the Braves dugout. And Charlie Morton a pitch away from getting out of this first inning.
Sure.
Truist Park on their feet early. They know what's at stake. Of course, there are some Mets fans in attendance tonight. I feel like whenever these two teams tangle, there's always Atlanta fans that go to City, and there's Mets fans that'll be there at Truist. It's a great rivalry, to say the least. 3 straight curveballs to start the at-bat for Morton. Pitch 21, the sign, and here it is. Got him looking, strike 3! And a scoreless first for the Salt Man out of Connecticut, Charlie Morton. It's a nothing for the Mets, and the world champions, led by Ronald Acuna Jr., will lead off in the bottom half of the first inning. Woo, if your blood's not pumping already. What are you doing? We got 8.5 more of this one.
Why is he not calling timeout?
You watching a football game still, Hayden?
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out.
Guess you got me to keep you up with the Mets game, right?
Yeah, and I haven't. It's the Denver Vegas game, but I was just trying to figure out something. I don't know. Maybe they already called it.
Are you guys still tied in that one?
We're down. Broncos are down by 2 points. 25-23.
I think I have.
I was trying to figure if they had any timeouts left because they were. I mean, you got 2 minutes, and that's for Jesus.
If you guys win that game, the the Raiders are done. Like done easily. 0-4.
0-4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like they're pretty much done already, but like that would be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I don't know many teams in history that have gone 0-4, or if you want to use a baseball analogy, that's probably the equivalency to like a 5-30 or 5-25, and
like the Reds this year.
Yeah, but still, yeah, I very rarely do you see comeback.
Plus, your guys' division is just a dogfight. You got the the 3-time, well, not including last year, the back-to-back AFC champion Chiefs. The Chargers have got something going on. You guys are Broncos country and riding around with Russell Wilson. So, they added Devontae Adams, they added Chandler Jones, and they were in the playoffs just last year. And so far, they're not showing that success. One thing I will say about the Raiders, though, is I wish they would have kept their interim. He took them mid-season at 2-5 through the Jerry Jeudy issues, through the Coach Gruden issues, and into December under 500, into the postseason, and they gave the Bengals all they could. So I'm very surprised that since he didn't want to, Las Vegas didn't want to keep him around because he did everything for that team. And you're seeing with Josh McDaniels. I mean, you had him once before as your coach, right? Maybe he's just not cut without Belichick. And if you guys finish business, they're eliminated before the season really even got a chance to get underway. Ronald Acuna Jr. stepping into the box here, bottom of the first inning. Chris Bassett, of course, for the Mets tonight. Acuna takes the first pitch at 92 miles an hour. Pop up out to shallow right field. Guillorme calling off Jeff McNeil on 1 pitch, 1 out for Chris Bassett. And that'll bring up the Atlanta shortstop, who is to be a free agent come November. The hometown Marietta, Georgia man, Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, Braves have had Swanson for, I mean, he was your number 1 draft pick, what, in 2015, 16?
So the Diamondbacks took him. First pitch from Bassett, right over the middle for a strike. Swanson looking to try to get that pitch count up. Was a recipe for success against DeGrom and Scherzer, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the Diamondbacks took him first overall in 2015. And then in the 2016 summer months, we traded, or actually, no, it was the offseason. We traded Shelby Miller in cash considerations to the Arizona Diamondbacks for Dansby Swanson and 3 Gold Glove seasons of Ender Inciarte, who was an all-star for us. And, of course, you guys had him for a part of this year as well. So Atlanta reaped all the benefits in that trade.
But
Bregman,
But the Braves got him when he was still a prospect, or did he have? He didn't have
Yeah,
any?
he was a prospect. I mean, he played like high A games with Arizona, but he was drafted by
Okay,
them.
yeah.
But yeah, basically rookie
I
ball,
guess
winter ball, all that.
grew up in the Brave system then.
Yeah, I mean, his mom was my 5th grade teacher. He lives around here. 1-2 to Dansby, grounded down the third baseline, foul. Good mixture of pitches so far in this at bat from Bassett. The sinker, the curve, the cutter, and back to the curve, which Dansby was able to get a piece of.
Swanson has a very large arsenal of pitches, usually range around 5 to 6, and I guess the most important thing is he mixes them up. Like I said, the four-seamer, the two-seamer, the curve, the cutter, changeup, slider. He really has everything in the books.
1-2.
Mix up his pitches really early in the game.
Gets Atlanta guessing. Because, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bassett tried to get you guys through 6 innings, and if we saw Edwin Diaz for 3 tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if that was at all a scenario.
I doubt you'll see Diaz for 3. Maybe like 1 1/3,
7 outs.
1 2/3. I'd say like 1 2/3.
Full count to Dansby now. Bassett missing back-to-back with the four-seam and the cutter.
Like I guess the thing is, like, Diaz hasn't really been used a whole lot lately. I mean, the Mets wins have either been like, 7-3 games, and it's like, you don't really need your closer then. So he hasn't. He's definitely
Dansby, that ball is driven out towards deep right field. Back at the wall, it is gone. Dansby Swanson with his 3rd home run of the series, number 25 for the year. And Alex Anthopoulos, if you're not listening, blank paycheck this man right now. It is 1-0 world champions in the bottom of the 1st inning. Speak of the damn devil, Hayden. Holy cow. James Dansby Swanson, a Marietta Blue Devil alumni, has put the Braves on top here. 2 batters into the 1st inning. Jeez. I'm getting goosebumps. Man. And that's the danger of kind of Hayden and I doing this type of game. As you can see our reactions live. It was a lot easier when we were doing Dodgers and Cardinals, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Michael Harris up now showing bunt. And he takes the first pitch for a ball. Didn't go around. Michael Harris, the probable rookie of the year in the National League. There's a good chance that he's first. Vaughn Grisham finishes 3rd, and Strider's smack dab in the middle at 2nd. 2-0 now. Bad call. Similar spot to where Charlie Morton had his pitch last inning. So that's a pitch marker to keep in mind for the rest of the night, Hayden, is that top quadrant might be a little bit inconsistent. 2-0 in there for a strike. Bassett getting back in the count there. So one of the pregame notes I had for my squad, the Braves, was to jump ahead early and get the early lead. They have done that. And I'd like to see them add some insurance. 2-1 to Michael Harris. Foul down the left field line. A little late to the cutter at 89. Holy cow. 2-2 pitch on the way. Bassett shrugging off a couple signs for McCann. And here it is. Once again, foul down the left field line, and Bassett now going to have to make his 14th pitch of the 1st inning. Of course, if you just missed us, Mets had a 2-on, 2-out threat in the top half of the inning. A strikeout-looking call and Eduardo Escobar. Acuna swung and flew out on the first pitch of the bottom half of the inning, and Dansby Swanson went yard, and that is where we stand with Michael Harris in the box. 1-0 Braves, bottom of the 1st. 2-2 pitch. Michael Harris, that ball is driven right at Brandon Nimmo. 4 steps, and he makes a gliding catch in center field, 2 away. And Harris has hit it to Nimmo a couple times this weekend already on a similar drive like that. They're showing the Dansby Swanson velocity, 104.6 off the bat, 29 out of 30 ballparks. That's a home run. And he hit that 409 feet with a 27-degree launch angle. Jesus. That
Yeah,
is
you want to know? You want to know how weird baseball is?
what?
All
First
right,
pitch
so
from
let's hear
Riley.
this. So Francisco Lindor, the second out,
Mhm.
had an exit velocity of 104.4, launch angle of 46%
I thought it
or
was gone.
46 degrees, whatever, uh, and an XBA 900.
Austin Riley lined at Lindor to Hopper, and he is going to make the play to retire the side. So the Braves jump first, and they barrel up a couple balls on Chris Bassett, but he bounces back and gets the final two outs of the inning. We go on to the second, 1-0 Atlanta. Charlie Morton going for a shutout inning. Continue, Hayden.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So exit velocity 104.4 miles per hour, launch angle 46 degrees, XBA of 900. Okay, Dansby Swanson 104.6 exit velocity, 27 degrees, 890 XBA. Interesting.
Jeez. And like, I'm not gonna lie, when Lindor hit that ball, I thought it was gone. I did like,
Me too.
oh boy. So and then Acuna kept backtracking. I'm like, oh boy.
And then the Michael Harris one too. I mean, oh,
Loud contact so far. So Vogelback, Canna, Guillorme due up for the Mets here in this inning. Two lefties to see the Salt Man, Charlie Morton. And Charlie has not been good in shutout innings most of the year. He has had a tendency to give the lead right back to the squad, especially with two lefties coming up. This is a beginning to watch, for sure. What's going on in the Broncos game? You guys take the lead?
It is 32-23. But they're arguing about something. I don't know what.
Did they score again then?
No, I think they're. I don't know what they're asking for.
Let's see.
Oh shoot, Bucks and Chiefs. Gotta put that on.
Packers and Patriots in overtime. That's something I didn't expect. Let's see. Falcons won today somehow. 2 straight weeks we've shut the door on defense. I'm not used to that at all. The New York Football Giants 3-1. The Lions came up just short in the affair with the Seahawks today, a 48-45 final from Ford Field. Bills came back to score 20 straight to beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Kenny Pickett would lose to Zach Wilson today, final score 24-20. Chargers make up for their late loss in Houston last year with a 10-point victory there today. Cardinals got a big needed win over the Carolina Panthers. And, of course, as you mentioned, Chiefs and Bucks, for later tonight. Eagles came back, and a lot of people at the Hardcore Network were very focused in on that one. They came back from a 14-0 deficit to come back and give Sunshine a defeat. The Eagles improved to 4-0, the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Cowboys, 4-0 now under the Cooper Rush era, 3-0 this year. Titans getting a touchdown victory over the Indianapolis Colts. That one was 24-17 Indianapolis. So that was a big one for both teams. Titans back at 500. The Colts 1-2-1, and they have a Thursday night affair this week against your Denver Broncos, Hayden. 1-0 now to Daniel Vogelback to start the second inning. Gotta love sports, right? 2-0 now to Daniel Vogelbach. Looked like Charlie's having a little bit of issues locating the curve so far. And I'd rather him mislocate it down than leave it over the heart. 2-0. First pitch from Vogelbach, and we might have a tie game here. And we are tied. Daniel Vogelbach sits on the curveball. And just like that, as I spoke about, the Charlie Morton shutdown inning is not in effect. So the Mets have tied the game without a single out being recorded. That ball was crushed again, 105.7 miles off the bat, 404 the distance. Basically the same spot Dansby hit it. And we were tied up just like that. What are your thoughts on that, Hayden? I thought I'd see a little bit more, excitement.
Yeah, it's about time from Vogelbach. He starts, producing some power. Good to see him really start to capitalize early on in the game. Get this back to a equivalent of a nothing bowl game.
And we basically do have a restart in Atlanta after that. And Let's Go Mets chant is broken out in New York. First pitch from Mark Canha. That's going to be a base hit in the left field, sitting on the changeup there. And back-to-back base hits here to start the second inning.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets have definitely shown, they're capable of getting on base. Just the concern is, and what we've seen this series, besides the double play ball, is can they score with runners in scoring position? So we're going to see if guys like Guillorme, Babbitt Merchant, if you could flick one out into the outfield, you get Jason Bay, James McCann to do something, I don't know. And then you get to the top of your order. So that's going to be the biggest thing for the Mets. Really, this game is simply enough, can they hit with runners in scoring position? Or the long ball need be. All right, Broncos lost.
Charlie Morton, of course, getting a $20 million option in effect for next year, a 1-year extension for the Braves. Trying to prove his worth at 38 years old. Led Atlanta to a World Series last year, broke his leg in the process. Didn't have the greatest of years we spoke about earlier, and already in some hot water. His Atlanta offense gets him an early lead, and blink of an eye, it's gone. And the Mets with the chance to take an early lead of their own here at Truist Park. Guillorme, that ball is going to be caught down the left field line by Eddie Rosario. Terrible camera work by ESPN.
Yeah,
you didn't see that the whole way.
Gonna say.
Am I ahead of you, or are you ahead of me, or where are we at?
No, I saw it too. I thought it was foul, so I looked away, and then I see it in the glove. It'd be cool if they showed what ballparks it would have stayed in.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I'm sure that would probably take a little bit of time. Mets dugout loves it.
I want to say probably like.
They said Coors Field was one of them. What in the world?
Right field?
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that like right center field is kind of like deep. It's not deep, but it's like. I don't know how to explain it.
First pitch to James McCann, who got the start tonight. I don't know if he's more of the Bassett catcher or is it the numbers he had against Morton in his career. I'm sure there must be something along.
I don't really think it's anything intentional. I just think it's that Nito's been catching a little bit more frequently than McCann. So, I mean, obviously you have to give him a rest. Obviously, the Mets are not going to have Alvarez be catching. So, yeah. I just think it's just at random. I mean, yeah, I think looking at McCann's and Bassett's numbers, they are much better. But considering Nito has caught the last two games, got to give him a night off. Obviously, offensively, you're not proud of what he has, but it's whatever.
Swing and a miss. James McCann swinging at 3 straight outside the zone. And that's been a lot of what I know you guys up in Queens have not liked in the signing from him. And he goes back to the bench pretty much without a fight. Big second out there for Morton, but that'll turn the lineup back over for Brandon Nimmo. A lot of loud contact off of Morton this inning. I'm not sure if the wind is blowing in or out tonight in Atlanta. I'm sure that's something we can find out some way or another. Meeting number 19 between the Braves and Mets this season. Tied at 9 apiece. First pitch popped up, and that'll be foul over the Braves dugout. Morton jumping ahead on a crucial hitter, 0-1. 0-1. Swung on, and that ball's going to get through on the right side. Canna will stop at second, but a bobble by Acuna. Not enough to get Canna to move up to third, and that'll keep the lineup moving. Here's Francisco Lindor, who barreled a ball his first time up 390 feet to the wall.
So, yeah, like I said, situations like this, you get a runner in scoring position, 2 out, 2 on, and, you have the meat of your order coming up. So you really got to capitalize on this, like any good ball team does. 2 out hitting.
I don't think Atlanta wants to flirt with seeing Pete Alonso this inning. First pitch to Lindor in there. Go ahead.
I said, no, I don't think many teams would.
That ball is right down the middle, Charlie. I mean, I'm looking at our ESPN radar over here to the right, which I know it's in the center of our screen. He's leaving that curveball right there for anybody to hit, and I think that's where Vogelbach took advantage. 0-1. Swung on a miss at the 4-seam. Looks like Lindor was a little behind, maybe still setting curveball. And Charlie Morton, after surrendering the lead here in the second inning, 2 on, 2 out once again for Francisco Lindor. He's had moments like this before in his career where he has come through in the big moment. Pete Alonso waiting on deck. 0-2 on the way for Morton, and a late call for time. Lindor apologizing to Charlie. 2 guys with great sportsmanship. They've never really caused a ruckus. I think it's just a misunderstanding, and they'll go on without an argument. Charlie was in mid-windup there. Maybe allows Charlie a minute to go back to the drawing board. Canna with the decent size lead at second base. A base hit would more than likely give the Mets an early lead. 0-2 pitch. Chopped on and foul. Back behind the plate will do it again. Pitch number 38 coming up. Mets already with 4 hits. 3 in the inning. It's been curve and then 2 straight 4-seamers from Charlie. Another OT fouled again. Spoiled another 4-seamer. Protecting the plate looked like it was a little bit outside, but too close for comfort. And it'll stay right here at 0-2. San Francisco Giants in a walk-off. They're looking to go over 500. 0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He got him. But the Mets do capitalize in the inning. A leadoff home run from Daniel Vogelbach has tied it as we go to the bottom half of the second inning from Atlanta. And the Mets are getting that pitch count up on Charlie Morton. 4 hits already, but they've left guys on base at an extreme amount early in this contest. Bottom half of the second due up. Olsen, Darno, Azuna, who I hope is on the Braves in 2023. Due up for the world champions in a 1-1 tie. Battle for the NL East on the line. What were your takeaways in that half inning from the Mets offense, Hayden? I won't be able to hear your answer. I got to go check my thermostat, but if you want to tell the audience.
Yeah, I mean, something that we've seen much too often from the Mets. Obviously, this Mets lineup is unbelievably streaky. I mean, we've seen so many stints this season where they've been hot. They have different phases of run creation. Like they'll have a good week where getting a lot of homers, a lot of extra base hits, some triples, and then then they'll go into their second phase later in the week of walks, singles, sack flies, just fundamental baseball, which isn't bad. It's productive, but maybe not as productive as some people want to see. And then we get situations like this, where they, could hit with 2 outs and, runners in scoring position or have a $341 million strikeout worth. Just little stuff like that. So, like I said, when it comes to the Mets, in my opinion, in the playoffs, people ask me, Hayden, what do you think is going to pretty much slaughter this Mets team in the playoffs? And it's the inconsistency offensively. This team is just terribly inconsistent offensively. I really worry, when we get into situations with, bases loaded, one out, boom, you get McCann up, double play, you're out of it. All these rally killings. Listen, I get it. The Mets tied up the game, so, I'm not going to be sitting here crying, but, you got 4 hits already. And, little stuff like that. Unless you're going to be like the Braves and be, strikeout or home run, then okay, you have something there. But unfortunately, the Mets are, don't have all Pete Alonsos on the team. You only have one.
And to be fair, you guys kind of have been strikeout or home run so far. The 2 strikeouts with guys on base, but the home run is what has gotten you guys on the scoreboard tonight.
Yeah.
Leading off the bottom of the second inning, interesting matchup here. These guys were teammates for the longest of time in Oakland.
Yep.
And you immediately come over to the NL East, are having a battle. So I'm sure these two have always had great respect for one another. Charlie Morton, Chris Bassett looks at Twitter, and Matt Olson, and it's 3-0 to start the at-bat to Matt Olson, who had a terrible, terrible slump throughout most of the month of September. Hit 130 in a span. Wasn't lining the ball. Even his XBAs weren't great. 3-1 to the first baseman. And it was a tough time for a lot of Braves Twitter, knowing that Freddie Freeman is raking on his way to a 112-13 win season for the Dodgers out in Chavez Ravine, knowing that our first baseman, who we got as a replacement, has not done it when it's mattered. 2 big slumps for him this year, and that's why his average is as low as it is. But he does take a leadoff walk against his former athletic teammate. Not the fastest of runners, though, so a chance for the Mets to turn 2 with the slow-running Travis Darnell coming up. Forgot to put our banner back. All right. Mets 98-60 coming into this matchup. The Braves 99-59. And here's Travis. First pitch in there, strike all the way. Maybe looking to see if the command from Bassett was not in the right coordinate. But Bassett gets ahead. Mets 47-33 on the road this year. The Braves 54-26 at home through 80 matchups to each location. 0-1 by Travis, fouled back off the net. A couple feet behind the catcher and the umpire. And it's 0-2. I think Travis is 1 or 2 homers away from 20 on the season.
That is correct.
And I think he'd like to get to that 20 mark, but I think most importantly, he'd like to help his team out. He's had a quiet series, to say the least. Him and Eddie Rosario have been 2 guys for the Atlanta lineup. Eddie will see later this inning if all things go well for the Atlanta that have not done anything for them. 0-2, just foul. I thought he whiffed that at first. But it looked like it was conked off the Atlanta dugout screen, and it kind of ricocheted back out to Alonso.
Don't see that often.
A lot of spin on the sinker there from Bassett. You see that's a corkscrew you don't see even in games like MLB The Show. That's just a once in a million type. 1-2 now. Looks like McCann had set up a little bit inside and Bassett missed his spot. So it's 1-2. 25 pitches now. Pitch count not really that much of an issue for Bassett. I mean, what do you expect him to go lengthwise, Hayden?
Considering
1-2, that ball is going to be to Lindor for 1 out. They'll get it to Guillorme for the force, and that's all they'll get. That ball could have easily gotten through, but also with the slow runners, the Mets could have turned 2, but both teams will settle for the median on 1 out. Go ahead.
Did Olsen not run on that, or just
I'm sure he did. He's just not the fastest.
I was going to say, because
he might have not. Yeah.
Maybe he thought he was going to catch it, maybe. Well, no,
Atlanta's already.
I don't know.
Atlanta's already had 2 base running errors this the series. I think they were trying to avoid a third.
But yeah, to answer your question with Bassett, as Marcell Ozuna comes up to bat, when it comes to Bassett, considering the bullpen is pretty well rested for the most part, considering Diaz, and we've mentioned before in the stream, you could see Diaz come in the eighth, get 1 2/3, 1 1/3, maybe use a guy like Lugo, like Ottavino, they're pretty well rested. So considering if he can keep the pitch count low, get those double plays, get those strikeouts, get ahead in the account, see a lot of 0-2, 1-2 at bats. Ideally, I would like to see six and a third, maybe 100 pitches. I believe this would be his last outing of the season if, for whatever reason, I guess, well, it's really going to determine if the Mets will be in the wild card or not, because the most likely they're going to want DeGrom or Scherzer to start that wild card game. So maybe they'll use Bassett on 4 days rest against the Nationals. So this could be his last outing. If not, I guess maybe 6, 1 2/3, maybe 100 pitches, 90 pitches, maybe. Start to get into his groove.
He's ahead 1-2 on Ozuna here, coming up on pitch 30. So on pace for what you're asking for.
Yep.
Ozuna, who in his last 15 games has been about 320. Still very surprised that he got the start over William Contreras tonight. And I'm surprised that Eddie Rosario granted got to start over Robbie Grossman, two guys that have really not done anything this series for Atlanta. You think you'd put all the chips on the line, but Snickers is still playing the analytical game. Swung on and missed, got him with the slider. And there's first strikeout of the night for Bassett, and there's 2 away for Eddie Rosario.
So 1, 2, 3.
And doesn't this feel like a Game 7 environment, Hayden?
I don't know about Game 7, but
definitely very close at least.
Yeah, definitely tensions seem very high right now.
Chance of Eddie being broken out and Bassett wanting time. Eddie hitless in the series. To be fair, has had a negative impact. 2 errors cost Atlanta a run in the Friday night affair. There was a couple times he struck out on ball 4, at his shoe top from DeGrom, or from Scherzer last night. So somebody I think the Braves are penciling in to at least do something productive for the club tonight. Not had the greatest of seasons, having the eye surgery middle of the year after being the NLCS and postseason hero. Takes a first pitch hacking and missing. That's right in his wheelhouse. You can see right over here on our ESPN graphic. He is a 462 hitter in that quadrant, and Bassett able to blow it right by him at 93 miles an hour. Orlando Arcia would be on deck if Atlanta can get to him this inning. 0-1. Chopper foul. And now you got him a little jumpy in the box. Bassett really has him at his will here and can do anything he wants. What pitch you expect him to go to here?
Let's see. What does he have? Curveball, sinker so far? Slider.
We'll see. Hayden says slider. We'll see what the pitch com says. Pitch 33 from Bassett, a chance to get out of the inning. And it is a foul ball.
2-seamer.
The cutter is on the radar for ESPN. I don't know how accurate it always is, but I seem to lean to it. I mean, there's a lot of times where I think a cutter is a slider, a sinker is a 2-seamer. So it's hard to judge all the time based on movement. 0-2 still to Rosario. Pitch on the way, and that is out towards center field. Brandon Nimmo getting a play about 2 steps in front of the track, and he makes the play to end the inning. McNeil, Alonso, Escobar do it for the Mets in the top of the 3rd inning. Better inning at that time around from Chris Bassett. When we go to the 3rd, still 1-1 from Atlanta. Let's see. So Charlie Morton so far He has 39 pitches, 25 for strikes. Not the greatest, for sure. Bassett seems a little bit more locked in.
So, yeah, obviously Mets will have biggest hitters in the order coming up. McNeil, Alonso, Escobar. Obviously McNeil in contention for the batting title. Currently posting a 324 average. I know I'm not crazy about batting average, but just a cool little fact there. Definitely a high on base percentage guy. Following Pete Alonso, who's definitely he's getting on base plenty. He's walking, he's getting hits. Definitely a nice power surge this month. Definitely leading. I think he's tied third this month in barrels, so that's good to see. So, and obviously Eduardo Escobar, who has also been showing a power surge and just hitting the ball, great back to ball contact. So we'll see.
Seems like he's won you guys over recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I said with Escobar. Like, he had a really bad, and that's not even that's the polite term to use, a really bad April, May, June, July, and August. Maybe he had like a week in July where he was good. That like Mets and Rangers series was really good. Otherwise, didn't really see much from him. But in September, he really broke out. And, this is what I said. Mets made it to the playoffs. And, if Escobar could come into October and continue to carry this team, I guarantee you many Mets fans will just forget about what happened the 5 months prior and just focus on September and, of course, October if things go well for him. So, would I have liked to see Escobar, with expectations earlier on? Sure. But these are the most important games. So if he can come up to clutch, put up the at-bats he's supposed to in the most important games, I'll have my respect there.
Jeff McNeil leading off the third inning for New York, of course, his first time around. Singled to right center field past Orlando Arcia, which kept the first inning going. McNeil hitting 324, as someone in the comments mentioned earlier, and I'm sure you're very much aware of Hayden, a chance to win the National League batting title. And at bats like that in the first inning, and of course the 2 RBIs last night only helping his cause. Charlie quickly ahead 0-1, working fast. That pitch is high and outside, 1-1 now.
Oh, that was okay. It was a strike. Huh.
Yeah, I think it's because he...
No, the first pitch.
Oh, wow. What the hell? Yeah, that's way outside. I didn't see it. I was actually looking at the stat. So 2-1 now, makeup call.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of just pinpointing the outside, inside corner lately from both Morton and both Bassett tonight. So home plate umpire tonight is...
And he's already shown a little bit of inconsistency, which worries me a little bit with knowing how much is on the line tonight. That's the least we need is ump ball. 2-1. McNeil, that ball is driven, and that ball is curling towards the chop house, and the Mets have taken a 2-1 lead here in the top of the third inning. Jeff McNeil wants that batting title. And he shows, I have more power than you think I do. The Flying Squirrel gives the New York Metropolitans a 2-1 lead.
I always say this: death, taxes, and Jeff McNeil getting on base.
I thought it was Brandon Nimmo.
McNeil's been much better with that this season. Nimmo's getting hit by pitches with Canna.
True.
But good to see McNeil. We know he's not a power hitter. Obviously, you could clearly tell by the way he holds his bat, chokes up on it. But got one good swing there, connected well, and that was gone off the bat. And obviously, good hands. Oh, I hit him. And good hands coming up with Big Meat Pete Alonso, who was also known for his power, so we'll see what he could do. Maybe ability to get on base, walked his first at bat, and he starts this count off with a 1-0 count. Alonso
Alonso with a base hit as well, and the Mets are barreling. Morton left and right. Not a good sign. 45 pitches, 6 hits in, and the Mets already with the lead.
Like to see that. Obviously, my two favorite players, Alonso and McNeil. That's fact for everyone. Those are my two favorite players. The homegrown kids. It's going to be interesting. I've always been interested to see how Alonso and McNeil would be in the playoffs. I mean, I could easily see a guy like Alonso and McNeil, guys who really can get stressed easily. So I'm curious to see how those two guys perform in the playoffs.
Base hit by Escobar as well. The Mets are just barreling off Charlie Morton. 2-1 to start the inning.
The opposite way. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I know, and maybe I would love to hear your opinion too, considering you're a Braves fan. I mean, you guys have so much young depth, whether that's Harris, Michael Harris or whoever. The Mets, they have, I get it. You have a couple veterans in the mix like Escobar, like Vogelbach, like Lindor. But I mean, a lot of your big producers, Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil, they're young. They don't really have playoff experience. So I really wonder how those guys would handle being in the playoffs. Well, I mean, Nimmo was in 2016, whatever, but yeah. So Mets definitely putting up a good inning. 3 hits already this inning with Mr. Daniel Vogelbach coming up. Homered his first at bat, solo home run, his 18th on the season. Obviously, getting that pitch count up, having a little bit of a complexity trying to find the zone.
And the Atlanta bullpen is not very stretched out. You guys have gotten to it for 8 innings of work the last couple nights. So a short hook is exactly what the Mets are looking for. 1-1 to Vogelbach. A jeer coming out from the crowd.
Well, the game is not over yet.
Not at all, but Atlanta's been in hot water all night. You guys already have 7 hits, and we're not even through 2 innings. I guess we're through 2 innings, but we're not into a 3rd inning of work officially, I should say.
Right.
2-1 to Vogelbach, another close call. Showing shots of both Showalter and Snitker in the dugouts, and their reactions, both calm, cool, and collected as at this point in time. 50th pitch from Morton, swung on and missed, got him ahead. Looks like with the curveball.
So obviously, little fact: Jeff McNeil is now hitting .326. Freddie Freeman, who currently leads the NL in average, went 0 for 4 today, and his average is at .327. So just 1 point percent, whatever you want to say, away.
Full count, and you don't want to load the bases here for Mark Canha.
Definitely a high on-base merchant, a magnet, as I like to call him. It's been hit. I'm curious to see how much his OBP has went up with hit by pitches.
Is there a way to do that on Baseball Reference?
Well, a hit by
3-2 pitch on the ground, and that's going to sneak through the hole.
Oh, no, bro.
And Pete Alonso was going to come around and score, and this has gone from bad to ugly for my squad. Hayden all cheer on the other side. It's 3-1 Mets, and there is still not an out recorded here in this 3rd inning.
Bad communication there, obviously, by Olsen and Arcia. I'm guessing they didn't. I have to re-see what happened, but good hit there. Some light contact from Vogelbach and just snuck in between them. Obviously, good hustle by Alonso at second. He was obviously running on that. That was Olsen's ball. I would imagine that'd be a hit.
Still very confused on who gave Olsen a gold glove back in the day, because I have not seen it. He looks like a giraffe on ice skates out there all the time.
So obviously, Mark Canha coming up to bat. Possibility to drive in another run here.
Way outside. I don't know where Charlie Morton's trying to locate. Jackson Stevens is up and warming for the Braves. Pretty much the only long reliever who's not gotten work this weekend so far. What the heck is going on with my thing? 1-0 on the way. Chopped on, and that's going to get another run home. It appears that ball is foul. Whoa.
That was fair. Bruh.
Is there a way to review that?
You can't review foul balls, but that was fair all day of the week, fam.
That looked fair from here.
Bruh. I'll say, I mean, I know Riley's been very good with patrolling the corners and making those great plays, but
he got his head too far up, looking to go to the plate, it seems.
Fair. Bro, that's fair. Bro. Foul. Did it?
It never hopped over the base.
Did it? Because I was gonna say he chopped it, but I don't know where it landed. All right, so.
ESPN announcers saying clearly foul. It's interesting based on our reactions.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I thought it like chopped like in the bat, like a little bit near the batter's box, but maybe it didn't.
Swing and a miss. 1-2. Big change of events there. Could have been 4-1 Mets.
Yeah.
By a matter of inches.
Runners could have been a double. Can't have some good speed, I guess.
Yes, same category. Vogelbach's had Colt Hero written all over him the minute he got traded over.
Canna popped up. That is in the play of the infield. Olsen has made the catch, and there's one away here in the third. Atlanta desperately needs a strikeout or a double play, because if you give Chris Bassett 3 runs of support, with, as we talked about, Diaz probably getting 5 outs of work tonight, you got to feel pretty confidently in the Mets at that point. So that'll bring the contact god, Luis Guillorme, his 2 home runs of the year, both off of former Braves reliever Darren O'Day. Showing bunt and taking for a strike.
Why are you bunting, dude?
Another hanging curve from Morton. What are we doing? Oh.
I don't know. Like, did that land? Like, I know obviously when it went by third, it was clearly foul, but did it like land a couple feet from the batter's box? Like it bounced.
It looked fair off the naked eye, at least.
So that's, I don't know.
0-2 foul down the left field line. Morton 0-2 now on Guillorme, but he's been there a couple times already. Tonight has not been able to finish the job. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Dansby or Travis Arnaud yelled at to Riley to let it go, because you could kind of see him come up on it at the very last second.
Yeah, that's why I was like, why'd you let it go?
Must have been somebody must have yelled at him, because I know it wasn't Joey Cora. Swinging a miss on Guillorme, and there's a big second out, but Charlie Morton not out of the water yet.
With James McCann, I think you may as well be.
Charlie's curveball is terrible tonight. Here's James McCann.
So we'll see what the best catcher in MLB could do. Coming up to the plate.
He comes through right here. He might as well be. 60th pitch from Morton.
And that's
ground ball to Olsen. That's going to be a tough play. Morton to the bag. But the Mets jump ahead for 2 runs in the third inning. The Mets already at 8 hits. And it's 3-1 Metropolitans as we go to the bottom half of the third inning. Ooh, what is this hearing aids commercial? That's just sounds like isn't this like an 11:30 info ad? Why are we showing this on prime time Sunday Night Baseball?
Yeah, there's some interesting ads on Fox Sports and ESPN. So I guess decent inning for the Mets. Obviously, got 2 runs, not going to complain. Could have, at least got 1 or 2 more on. Had runners on the corners with no outs. Obviously, Canna with the pop fly wasn't deep enough. Guillorme, who's great for contact, lately hasn't been hitting the ball extremely well. He's kind of been in a little slump, I guess, even though he doesn't play very often. And then James McCann grounds out. Big surprise there. Obviously that will, get the Mets to the top of the order for the 3rd time next at bat. So we'll take that. So Bassett had some time on the bench or the dugout to relax, cool off, recoup, figure out his repertoire, and I guess likewise goes for Morton.
And in a couple of days, you're going to receive your photo in a beautiful...
My friend told me earlier, who's not a Braves fan, he said, I think that Charlie Morton's going to give up 4 runs tonight. And so far, he's on par for that and then some. He's not had a 1-2-3 inning all night. So I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't pitch for 5 this week.
What's your assessment of Charlie Morton so far? How deep can he go with him? Well, I mean, he's going to have to cover a little bit right here. We have 3 more games to play. Get behind a lot of guys. Big thing. So hopefully he, Charlie the kind of guy, he can write the
You're trying to hear what they're saying to Snit.
Give me a view of that decision by Austin Riley to let that ball go foul. Yeah, pretty much play right there, man. That's great instinct.
So why this one I get? Why are they obsessing that he let the ball go foul? Like, did they want to see like a highlight jam or that? I don't know why they're.
I just think knowing that if Riley gets that ball, it's a chance it's 4-1. And if he misses that ball completely and it goes fair, you guys maybe have a chance to tack on even more. It'd be 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. And the conversation's a whole lot different. Really, I mean, you guys had a chance to go with the knockout punch there, and mere inches kind of keeps the Braves in the game for the time being. Arcia taking a first pitch hanger, 92 miles an hour for a strike. Arcia with 9 homers, 6 of them coming at the mercy of the Washington Nationals this year. Played in about half the games or so this year. A couple games in for Dansby Swanson earlier in the year. Took over for Ozzie Albies for a lot of the summer months before his hamstring injury, and that brought up Vaughn Grissom, of course, for Atlanta. Of course, the former shortstop for the Brewers. 1-1 pitch. That ball is grounded right through the right hole, similar spot to where the Mets have hit it so far, and a leadoff single will bring Ronald Acuna Jr. to the plate with nobody out. 101.5 miles an hour off the bat.
It's a nice opposite field contact there. Reached in. Got it just in between where Alonso and Guillorme were positioned.
Ronald Acuna coming up. First pitch is spiked in there. A good stop by McCann. Arcia not going anywhere. Nino, I think, let a ball or 2 pass last night, correct, which allowed the Braves a couple opportunities. I don't think they ever capitalized on those opportunities on the the move up from first to second, but good to see from you guys that looks like there's a lesser chance of it so far. They're setting up inside an Acuna. It's 1-0. 39 pitch from Bassett, and Acuna is going to call time. A lot of fluctuation from views. We went from 9 to 4 to 7 to 3, back to 4 in a matter of like a minute. Now we're at 6. So 1-0 to Acuna, swung on and fouled in the dirt.
Nah, YouTube's weird like that.
Yeah. Must-win game for both teams so far tonight.
That is true. So obviously Bassett's throwing a little hesitant to Acuna. He's throwing a little low.
This is where Acuna likes it, according to the ESPN spray charts. 1-1. That ball is hammered
Foul.
back foul. Off the bat, I think he got it off the corkscrew again. The sinker.
So
Ronald's
let me
only
ask.
trying to do. Go ahead.
No, so let me ask you this: Is Acuna usually your leadoff hitter? Because I feel like
Yes.
I've
Yeah, he's
always
been
I've never. I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's just me then.
since 2018. He's been.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's been stints where he hasn't, and the offense slumps, and he ends up back in the same spot. So
Mm.
1-2 pitch to Acuna, rolled over, foul. And also, if you play MLB The Show against the Braves, always have him in the fourth or fifth hole. So maybe that's part of where it comes from. I'm not absolutely sure, but I know that video game Acuna never hits leadoff, but I know that the Braves have had him there for most games in his career up to this point so far.
I don't know. Maybe just me then. So 1-2
I mean,
count here from Acuna.
this
I don't know.
has been like the most stereotypical leadoff hitter year for him, knowing that he's had a power slump, but his on base and speed has kind of still been there. He's almost been a true leadoff hitter this year instead of the 40 home runs we kind of expect of him. 2-2 curveball or slider spiked in the dirt.
Yeah, because I mean he's like a 5-tool player. So I mean you put down the leadoff home. I mean that's interesting. I mean he has the I mean not this year at least, but I mean the average, the OBP, the ability to get on base, the power, obviously the speed once he's on the base paths.
He was pretty much single-handedly, him and Freddie Freeman were single-handedly carrying the Braves throughout the first half of last year. Kept us above water, and of course, when he went down with the ACL, everybody thought the world had ended. And rightfully so. Somehow Atlanta was able to battle away and win a World Series, but I mean, he kept us where we were for a lot of the year. Him and Freddie basically alone. It's a full count to him.
So full count here from Acuna, obviously working up from that 1-2 count. Obviously something you'd like to see from your leadoff hitter. The ability to work up the count. Really hasn't had any pitches in the strike zone. Obviously the 2 strikes or
full count pitch, fouled away.
Or from, exactly, little stuff like that, fouling off pitches. So I guess, it's what every good leadoff hitter does, expands the at-bat, so it betters him and obviously goes against the pitcher for his pitch count. Obviously, Bassett has 43 pitches so far, heading on his 44th. So both pitchers having a high strike count.
I think the interesting thing is that Bassett is going to the sinker a lot, and the Braves are making contact with it. They're just corkscrewing. So as long as they're not barreling it, he's probably going to keep throwing it. We'll see what he does here. 45th pitch, full count to Ronald. That is outside ball 4. And Dansby Swanson, who is a homer in each of the 3 games already in the series, the only run from the Atlanta offense tonight, with a chance to get Atlanta right back in this game. And it seems like so far it's been that type of game where it's just been a game of exchanging punches. Woo! Not the easiest thing to do to homer off DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett 3 straight nights, is it?
No, that's something you don't see very often. Yeah, I mean, you don't really see many, 3.
You see some nervous fans in the Atlanta sections. 1-0. Missed with the curveball. I think Bassett's 1-1 in his 2 starts against Atlanta this year. Won the road start in July, but lost the April start or early May start to us in that 4-game series up in Queens. So 3rd time we've seen him this year. 1-0 down and in, 2-0 now. The slider. Atlanta crowd starting to get a little bit back into it here. They had one dormant there for 20, 25 minutes, seeing Charlie Morton slog through the first couple innings of the night. The Mets have routed off 8 hits in an early 3-1 lead in Atlanta. 48th pitch coming up for Bassett. A look to Arcia at second. He takes a step back to the bag, and it's down low and in. And you think he's going to have to throw him something here. You don't want to load the bases for Harris, the lefty. Do we see a meatball here? Green light, I guess, is the right term for it.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably be swinging 3-0 considering you've been very hot. Unless it's way outside, but I wouldn't be surprised if Swanson swung.
3-0 pitch, swung on and missed. There was the green light, and Bassett blew it by him.
Yeah, Bassett's having a little difficulty finding the zone. And like I said, all this night from Bassett and Morton just pinpointing the edge of the strike zone. And whether it's below or back foot door, they're having a little – both pitchers are having a difficult time finding the strike zone. Pitch count is getting higher and higher.
3-1 on the way from Bassett, and that is center field. Brandon Nimmo under it. Looks like there will be a tag from second to third. There goes Arcia. Acuna tagging up as well, and he is safe. The Braves have been known to do that this year. They've sent Ozzie, which of course sent him back onto the IL earlier this month, tagging up from first base. And Swanson just got under that baseball. I didn't think it was gone off the bat, but the crowd certainly thinking so.
Nimmo slowly pacing back to the warning track. But yeah, it's smart. Obviously breaks up the double play opportunity. So obviously you have, good speed from Acuna and Arcia. So definitely a smart thing to do. Fundamental classic baseball, steal on sac flies or pop flies, whatever you want to say.
Now a base hit, the Braves are potentially have a tie game. The ball getting knocked all around between, the cleat of Harris and the catching mitt of James McCann. It's 1-0 to the rookie out of Decatur, Georgia. He was a fan in the World Series of Game 3 last year. He was sitting in a similar section to what I was. So very, very funny, how different 11 months will change your life.
So obviously we'll see if Bassett goes inside. Usually lefties likes to throw inside too. So we'll see how he goes to approach Harris Jr., the second.
2-0, very much inside in his first two pitches.
So yeah, Bassett's difficult time finding the zone.
If that's Vogelback as a lefty up to the plate, we might have bases loaded here. If you get the reference.
Nah, yeah, probably. Pablo Sandoval maybe too.
Yes, Panda as well. Well, it was part of the Eddie Rosario trade for Atlanta last year. Of course, legend with the Giants, not so much with the Red Sox. 2-0 hanger in there for a strike, and Harris knew it. Jumping back in the box. Yeah, I think he caught him a little off stride there, that's for sure. Nerves are at an all-time high, I could tell. Pitch 54 from Bassett, looking to get evening in the count, and it's fouled back. He does just so. Harris swung up ball 3.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even think we'll see. I think both teams will have their bullpen out by at least the 5th inning. I mean, unless Bassett.
Look at Orlando and Eduardo battling, fighting,
goofing around. Boys will be boys.
Yeah, we know each other.
Yeah, I mean, unless both pitchers go out and get 1-2 pitch at bats, turn some double plays, then maybe you'll see them. But both pitchers pitch counts are relatively
2-2. Ripped down the left field line. Harris has the ability to go left center very easily. I wouldn't say very easily, but very commonly. He was just behind that curveball. Ooh, cutter. Jitters are in my system, man. I know how much this game means to both of us. It turns everything. If we win, we're probably winning the East. If you guys win, you guys very well might win the East. And it feels like that's why I say it feels like a Game 7 tonight. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He got him with the curveball. Wicked movement there. That's one he's probably throwing. It's 2 away. And it'll be up to Austin Riley to continue the inning.
So yeah, talking about mixing up his pitches really well. That cutter coming into clutch with him big time. Harris able to make a little contact, but to foul it off, obviously. And then the nice curveball, 72 miles per hour. Nice little dip on it, and Harris went around on it. I'll have a little.
Austin Riley has had a cold month of September. Pitch 57 from Bassett. Got him at the hand. That's going to load the bases.
I mean,
Bassett,
hey, said if it was you said if it was Sandoval, it'd be bases loaded. So I mean,
the ghost Apollo Sandoval haunting the yards.
Yeah, usually we see the Mets get hit.
And it's Matt Olson, who, of course, walked his first time up, has not really been there in the clutch for most of the season for the Braves. And that's where a lot of the fan base has had a little bit of hatred for him, saying, yeah, he's been great in a lot of the advanced categories. He's done his job, but there's a lot of things that Freddie's done that he hasn't. And that's been, in the clutch, he's had a lot of pop-ups and a lot of strikeouts. And, facing his former teammate here from Oakland, saw a lot of pitches his first time up. I believe it was like a 7-pitch walk. A chance to, like Escobar recently, right some of the wrongs. Crowd very into it in Atlanta. Arcia way off the bag. The Mets still playing to pull. If Olsen can get just behind on a slider or anything to the outside part of the plate, we're probably in a tie game. McCann, I think, is going to come out and have a visit. No, he won't. Ball was just outside.
Turn of events for both teams.
Oh, yeah. Momentum swung back and forth. 1-0 to Olsen. Inside. And I hate to use the cliche here. There's no place to put him. I don't think you give Matt Olson the Barry Bonds treatment, do you? You don't walk him to see somebody else. Still can't believe that they did that. They're going to get Arcia. They'll walk him back to third.
Yeah, there's no point in – yeah. Obviously, Arcia is going to really play however far down the line he wants. I mean –
he's just got to watch Escobar behind his back, which it looks like he's doing so. Acuna with a big lead as well, and it's 3-0 to Matt Olson, and I think McCann is probably going to come out for a visit.
Yeah, so Bassett really not finding his command. 60th pitch, 34 in the strike zone. Really having a hard time finding the zone, and obviously with elite catcher James McCann, known for his great defensive metrics, that's really going to help.
Is that sarcasm?
Yeah.
Of course, we saw another green light this inning, swung on and missed. This pitch is in at the top right quadrant for a strike, and it's 3-1. McCann with a pump fake down the third base line. Travis d'Arnaud begging to get up this inning. Showalter begging for his guys to be hitting as the next batter. Couple shakeoffs from Bassett. Yep, as you said, 28th pitch of the inning. Acuna with a 5-step lead. Here's the 3-1. Outside, ball 4. And the Braves have cut it back to within 1. Mets pitching coach, which if you wouldn't mind naming him for me, out for a visit.
Jeremy Hefner. So, yeah, Hefner is going out to the mound. Probably should have done that, I don't know, maybe 2 batters ago, but
I would agree.
I mean, Showalter obviously is not the best with running a bullpen, and pitching staff has no sense of urgency.
Neither is Snit
for a while.
Neither is Snit. So.
True. Being realistic, I think no manager has any sense of urgency when it comes to
especially the older ones. They've been there, they've done that. They're not as analytical. So guys like Buck and Snit, they're going to trust their guys. They're player managers. But I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bassett. I mean, no offense to him, I get it. He's a veteran, but right now, if a guy like DeGrom or Scherzer was in the situation, then you would put trust in them. But Bassett, you clearly don't. And then they put in Trevor May. That knucklehead in the bullpen guy who's going to throw a meatball and blow up this game.
Maybe he'll blow up some people in Fortnite afterwards too.
Probably, and then he'll take a nap and
see how the Cats are doing.
Can't
0-1 a slider. Do you think you think you guys are going to let him walk this offseason?
I pray. He's annoying. Can't stand him.
Charlie Morton pacing up and down the Atlanta dugout. He knows that he has to do better. As of right now, the Mets still in control. 64th pitch coming up for Bassett. Atlanta really got into the pitch count this inning. 2 walks, 0-2. Don't know what Travis is looking for there. You're not going to get anything better to the hit than that one. Maybe.
Please don't die, laptop.
What's your battery at?
3%. So I'm praying that either a commercial break or something happens in the next couple seconds. Because I don't want to run to my room now. Or maybe I will.
0-2 pitch. Inside. That one.
Run quickly.
You might have crossed up McCann. You go do that. We'll keep you updated.
You see, his front side's gone. That's not what he's trying to do right there. A rolling breakaway. Once this down and away.
Definitely crossed up James McCann on that one. 1-2 pitch. Fouled back. Darno able to get a piece of it. Travis Darno had a great month of April, a great month of June, and a great month of August. He struggled in May, July, and September. Braves fans hoping that it turns up once again for October. And, of course, in the October month, a chance to do that right here. Still down 1-2. He only missed like one pitch, just a foul ball on the slider.
All right, that's good.
Yeah. You can see it right on the pitch radar on our screen. It was just got a piece of it out there. Still 1-2.
Sweet.
Travis Darno. Up high. McCann able to save that one from getting to the backstop. They're playing Travis a little bit more up standard here. I think both teams making every use they can in the shift here late in 2022, knowing that there won't be one next year. Or at least, some forms of it will be illegal.
Every pitch is high stress. He threw 34 pitches the first 2 innings. This will be his 34th pitch this inning.
2-2. 2-2 still. To Bassett. And that pitch is nubbed off the end of the bat foul.
Chiefs got a touchdown.
That game, of course, in Tampa Bay.
Inning is still going on. 2-2 count here.
Bases loaded, 2-2 count, as you just said. 3-2 lead for the Mets. Travis Darno way off the, he's sitting a little back on the batter's box. The slider might be able to get him by. Once again, fouled.
Bro, my goodness.
Two-seamer. I wouldn't be surprised. Go ahead.
How many foul balls do you think there have been in this inning?
From the Braves side, probably 16, 17, and the Mets probably have another 7 or 8.
Oh, yeah. I was just focusing on the Braves at least. They foul. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Listen, Keith, 69 pitches already.
Pitch 70 coming up. Be the 8th pitch of the sequence here. Darno. That ball is through the hole for a base hit.
That's 2 runs.
Ronald Acuna comes in to score. Here comes Riley, and Atlanta has retaken the lead. What a shift of events we've had here in the first 3 innings. Atlanta jumping up 1-0 off the Dansby Swanson homer. Vogelback immediately tying it up. And, of course, Charlie Morton with a rough top half, getting out of it with 2. And Atlanta, all with 2 outs, has come back to retake the lead. If this isn't playoff baseball and if this isn't entertaining to you, I don't know what is to any baseball fan. Whew. And this game is nowhere near over for either side with the way the starters are high in their pitch counts. The bullpens have had a lot of work all weekend. This is going to be a showdown for 27 outs, and you guys might want to buckle your seatbelts. Man.
Yeah, we've seen a lot this series in the 3-game Showalter. Really questionable with his pitching, and obviously Bassett's going to come out. Fucking stupid moron.
I understand.
Part of my French, but really? You take him out now, and now he's going to put in this knucklehead. So, yeah, Bassett, first 2 innings were clean. Came into the 3rd, and 70 pitches was his night. Was not able to capitalize, couldn't find the zone, and the Mets will rely on their bullpen for quite some time. Obviously, Charlie Morton also has been sitting at the dugout for quite some bit. So we'll see if he'll be in his groove once he returns. But yeah, definitely a game, a series overall that is arguably on Showalter. Obviously, you look at game one. The sense of urgency was just not there for Showalter, obviously. And I mean, that's one thing I've always expressed is how poorly cognizant he is when it comes to running a bullpen. I mean, I've said thousands of times that he should just step aside and let Hefner completely run the bullpen because I really worry with him. I mean, I get it. Orioles go 2016 or whenever it was. But yeah, getting a little frustrating when it comes to how he handles his bullpen management. Obviously, we saw Friday night game.
Seems like you guys punted that way too early, putting in David Peterson. We're like, what? Or not David Peterson, I'm sorry.
Tyler McGill
in
the first game. Yeah, when you had it was a 2-run deficit, clearly capable of coming back. You put in McGill, who really has not been sharp since returning from the IL, completely blows it. The next day, which was yesterday, let me see what happened there, because I know he did something stupid. Or maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe, okay, yeah, well, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, it really comes to the point where you got to really, when it comes to having trust in your pitchers, I get it. I understand that. But when it comes to games like this, there's less room for error. And you cannot have trust in your pitchers. And examples like this, you put in this doofus who is thrown to the long ball, and it's a 1-run game. And all he needs to do is throw one meatball down the middle.
Well, Zuna has struggled mightily from the right side this year. Mightily. As you mentioned, we talked about earlier, then Trevor May, a known Twitch streamer, 25th game of work this year. 1-1 now. I mean, these two guys could very well be teammates on another team next year. We don't know how that might work, but I wouldn't be surprised if both of these guys are in different homes, Trevor May and Azuna, next February. I meant to bring up the advertisement again. There we go. So Azuna and a 1-1 count from Trevor May. 4-3 Atlanta, bottom of the third inning, and that pitch is swung on a missed, blowing the four-seamer right by him. Back-to-back 96 mile an hour. I mean, if you give Azuna a slider to the outside part of the zone, he's not touching it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went to it here. Seeing back-to-back four-seamers up and in, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the hanging slider to the right corner of the plate. And it looks like it was more of a four-seamer in that same direction. It's an even count. Darno off at first. Olsen at third. So runners on the corners here. A 2-2 count, 2 away. In a game that has had so many twists and turns already. Chris Bassett out after 2 2/3. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Charlie Morton get into a similar situation, knowing that he's already in a little bit of trouble as well. 0 clean innings from him. 2-2 pitch popped up. Playable in foul territory for Alonso. Backing up a couple steps. He says he's got it, and he does. Hayden can breathe a sigh of relief. And we go to the fourth inning. An inning that the Braves somehow managed to win. The Mets getting 2 in the top half. Atlanta coming back with 3 in the bottom half. They're showing a great replay of, Austin Riley ball. They're obsessed with it.
It's enough with the freaking foul ball. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So I mean, obviously Bassett with okay. For the people that said DeGrom and Scherzer pitched bad, let's compare that to this. This was a bad outing. So yeah, obviously you're gonna have to go to your bullpen. I get it. You have plenty of depth on your bullpen. Obviously, rest. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a guy like Williams get 2. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe you see Peterson for an inning. Excuse me.
I'm sure you wouldn't like that too much, though, would you?
I don't mind Peterson. He's been good. It's McGill that's been horrible.
Want to know two people that have had similar years
Who?
that you wouldn't expect? Ozzy Albies and Tyler McGill. And hear me out. It's because they both had two injury stints, right? Where they were great at the beginning of the year, they got hurt. Ozzy broke his foot. McGill had his issues. They come back, and within a week, it seems like they were hurt again. And you heard of them, they were glad they were back, and they're shipped away once again.
Exactly.
And Ozzy more than likely won't be able to return to till the postseason, and that's why winning the East will be so huge for both of these teams. You guys would have a chance to get Marte when guys rest, and for Atlanta to be Strider and Ozzy Albies. But it's kind of funny when you think about it. You wouldn't think that Tyler McGill and Ozzy Albies would have similar years where they've had underachieving, injury-riddled seasons. But that's baseball for you.
No, of course, yeah. I mean, I think it's, when it comes to guys like Tyler McGill and obviously Ozzy Albies, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate there. I mean, I think Albies is maybe a little bit more well-known considering he's a position player. But, yeah, I mean, you look at McGill, what he's done for the Mets in the first half, or really at least April, May. Unfortunately, he got hurt in June and, came back for like a week, went back on the IL and just came back in September and has just been really bad. April, May, big reason why you're in the spot he is now. Obviously, he was your opening day starter. Obviously with DeGrom out for, the first half. Scherzer had a couple, small IL stints. So, I mean, really tip of the cap to McGill in the first half, at least, for really carrying that rotation. Obviously, now it's a different story, but, you salute him for his service early on.
Reminds me of, Huascar Ynoa with the Braves last year. Very similar story.
Yeah. So, I salute, tip of the cap to, obviously, both of those players, Albies and McGill.
Who, everything goes, can turn it around and start the season fresh in October. So, Charlie Morton, 60 pitches through 3 innings, has not had a 1-2-3 inning, and he's already having to see the top of the lineup third time through. Brandon Nimmo leading off. We saw him to start the game, and we also saw him in the second. First pitch in there from Charlie Morton, the curveball, which has not been where it's needed to tonight. He's got to figure out to locate it soon, or he's going to be hitting the showers just as Bassett did in the bottom half of the inning. He throws it in there for strike one. So Nimmo leads your guys' squad in triples and runs, which you kind of like to see out of the leadoff. Quickly behind 0-2, though, swinging at the curve. And I don't know what it is with Charlie. There's been a lot of times where he gets guys 0-2 and he plunks them with the curveball, especially from the left-hand side of the plate. And I'm sure that might be in effect here since then. I mean, Mets and Braves are showing a graphic here that they both had absolutely great seasons. They've been on tears. The Mets got out to, the big lead in the spring, and the Braves have played great ball to catch them. And, the Mets have not gone anywhere. You guys have played the 6th best record in baseball since June 1st, and that's where it's come down to this series. Charlie Morton punching out Nimmo on the changeup there. 6 strikeout. Doesn't feel like he has 6 strikeouts, does it? Feels like he's got 2. I mean, it says he's got 6, but it just doesn't feel like it. You guys have barreled him.
Yeah.
So that's a big first out, but here's Lindor. 0-for-2, but of course the first inning, it looked like he had pimped one at the chop house, but ended up being Vogelback and McNeil to do the honor.
So Nimmo getting out as the leadoff man, that's a surprise there.
Yeah. So maybe you guys should put him in the 2-hole, right?
With Nimmo, I mean, I've really always said I really want to see McNeil bat leadoff. Even when the season started, there was the whole debate. Who should be leadoff, Marte or Nimmo? And I said Marte, simply enough just because that, prior to, last year, the high percentage of stealing bases. And, I mean, Nimmo is capable of stealing at least 20 minimum, but he just doesn't steal, obviously, because of the injury concern.
Yeah.
And that'll be an out there for Lindor, 2 away. But, I really am a little tired of seeing Nimmo in the leadoff. I mean, I would like to see McNeil, considering, I mean, he's a great hit. He's a great hitter, great on base percentage guy. I mean, 381 OBP, that's phenomenal. 326 average, obviously, that's phenomenal also. So,
and you like the power stroke he had so far tonight, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's not, he definitely is, capable of, getting some doubles. We see that uppercut swing, launch angle swing from him a lot. And, you know, it's a little annoying, but, you know, when you get times like that, when he hits the home run, it's worth it.
Where was that pitch going?
Obviously, you know, McNeil's not a power hitter. He tried that in 2019, you know, had like 23 home runs. Good for him. But, you know, I like McNeil with the hitter he is now. You know, he's 2019 self, 2020 self.
The flying squirrel, right?
Yeah, flying squirrel. I mean, he's definitely, in my opinion, I would say one of the most underrated players in the game. I mean,
I just happen to have him in his worst fantasy season of all time.
last year.
Yeah.
Oof.
I had him and I had Baez. Drafted both of them. Oops. Yeah.
Well, Baez probably did you some good stuff in the second half.
Yeah, he's all right.
No, Baez really stepped up with the Mets, though. He's much more of a selective hitter.
What do you think? What do you think it was that made you guys not want to go after him this winter?
I think it was a mixture of things. I mean, I think it was just one in terms of room.
Yeah.
I do think the clubhouse presence was a little bit of an issue. I think they feared that it would have caused stuff, which it clearly did. Yeah, I mean, I think there was multiple things. One, I think obviously the room. I mean,
With
you know,
McNeil, Guillorme, Lindor.
yeah, obviously, you know, they later went on to bring in Escobar. You know, so I think they
VR
wanted.
did his part last year with you guys too.
Yeah, and I don't think they want. You know, Baez as a shortstop. They didn't want to put him at third.
Yeah.
So that, and then obviously, I think they were a little worried about the clubhouse. You know,
JD Davis is still there at the same time too. You know, 2-2 pitch from Morton, ground ball to Arcia, and a 1-2-3 inning. First time tonight for Charlie Morton. The pitch count at 71, so an 11-pitch inning. And I'll be interested to see who the Mets bring in bottom of the fourth. Do you think it'll still be Trevor May?
He faced one batter retired. It's like really hard because it's like it's hit or miss. Like I could see Showalter. I mean, like depending on whenever like Olsen or a lefty comes up, using them for.
It is a leadoff lefty, but it's Eddie Rosario, and he's literally done jack squat this series. So
Rosario, Arcia. So maybe you put in May to face the first two, and then really don't know. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's fourth inning still. It's like, geez, it's been. What,
I mean, we're both in similar. We're in similar situation. We're like one more bad inning from Charlie, and one more jam. He's out of there too, and you know, I would expect to see Tyler Matzik tonight for sure. He's been like the one guy for us that hasn't pitched this. That was like high leverage use that hasn't pitched this inning. Jesus Christ, this weekend. And I mean, if it comes to it, Jackson Stevens, our other long reliever, we have Jesse Chavez and we have him, and of course he was the one warming earlier. So, I don't think that was something either teams had really planned on tonight. They really planned on, you know, maybe riding out quality starts from each of their guys. But, you know, you guys have worked about 8 or so bullpen innings, and similar to us, it's everybody's been in. I know Joely and Peterson have pitched for you guys, and Ottavino, Lugo. Diaz hasn't, but there hasn't been a situation for that, at least as of yet. Did you see that the other night, Thursday night, you know, known Mets fan to a degree, Frank the Tank from Barstool was revealed that he was an act?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because apparently he's a Dolphins fan too, and there was he's like, I'm calm for my TikTok. I gotta be mad. They're like, Frank, what are you doing? I'm filming my TikTok. What are you doing? Oh, I gotta retake it because I can't be calm. I gotta be mad. And they said, we're revealing the fourth wall. And then, of course, you know, last night he did a stream with a Braves fan from Barstool. And I think the Olsen to the Dansby homer, he went, no! Or something completely ridiculous, which looked a little bit more natural. So now I just don't know what to believe. Maybe it's for the Dolphins. He's not as, you know, fearful, but I don't know. Either way, I know that he's definitely a character for sure.
Yeah, he's interesting. Yeah, I honestly, I kind of expected it to be a, you know, satire. I don't think anyone's that. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's some weird people out there, but I don't think someone could be that mentally there. Yeah.
0-2. I don't know it. I mean, there's how many pitches tonight this weekend has Eddie swung at that have been on his shoes? I've been pointing at my shoelaces how many times he's done it. May got him at his wits here. 0-2. Fouled away.
So,
That's
yeah,
his wheelhouse.
obviously, you were right. May is still going to be out.
They said nobody's up. So, must be May's inning.
I've trusted him, which I don't, but.
0-2 from Rosario. Popped up left side. Escobar is there, and there's one away in the bottom of the fourth. Another at bat where Eddie's really just done nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Robbie Grossman pinch hit later. Who's Arcia, who started off, last inning with the base hit through the right side. 245 season for Arcia. He's really done his part. He's been a huge part while Ozzy's been gone, for sure. And I think Atlanta's got to tip the cap to him. Came over from Milwaukee middle of last year, takes a strike to start the at-bat, which kind of really set up the Willy Adames move for the Brewers in a way, with them dumping Arcia to us for two pitching prospects that are not in the Milwaukee system anymore. Atlanta decided to arbitrate him this offseason. Give him another year. Last year he was really hack away, kind of like Javier Baez with the Tigers this year, swinging at everything left and right. And I watched players like him very closely this spring training, seeing his approach, seeing how he was looking at things different, getting on base at a higher level. And I had a feeling he'd have a bigger impact this year, and my hunch was right. 0-2 from Trevor May, down and in. Who's somebody that you watched in Met spring training that, had a rough year last year, which you wanted to see different results, different things in the spring, than it kind of panned out? If not, what was at least something you were looking back on from the the Met spring training this March and February? First the 1-2 fouled away, that you were trying to see if things would be different from a certain player this year.
I think two that really stick out. Obviously Lindor and McNeil. Obviously I think all Mets fans really had confidence in McNeil, considering how much of a great hitter he really was. So I guess maybe not as much McNeil. I think everyone kind of knew he would come back, but I guess Lindor was really like the number one question.
Yeah.
If how he would be. He looked really good in spring training. Started off the season well. Definition of a really streaky hitter.
Yeah. It's kind of what he's been, right?
Yeah. Listen, he's keeping that
2-2.
OPS, around 800. That 270 average, 100 ribbies, 25
Great defense.
homers, great defense. You'll take it. A 6-WAR player.
I think him and Danzy are a lot closer than people think. I think it's because of the contract that you guys were able to give him, and Danzy still being on his rookie deal. But I really think they're two of the more underrated shortstops in baseball. 2-2, swung on and missed. Arcia, it's the second out of the inning, and May having no problems here to start the bottom half of the fourth. It'll be Ronald with 2 on, nobody out. What in the world did I? Nobody out. Take a breath. 2 outs, nobody out for Ronald Acuna. Third time's the charm. Whew. I've never really slipped up like that badly.
See, Peterson is just chilling in the bullpen, warming up a little bit. Potentially, maybe you get 2 innings out of him, depending on the situation.
Well, next inning, if he can retire Acuna here, you have Swanson, Harris, Riley. Honestly, it'd probably be better in the Mets book if Acuna were to reach here if you want to get 2 innings out of Peterson, because you'd see Harris and Olsen next inning, and then you'd see Rosario for a 6th inning of work. 1-1 to Ronald. Because I know you want to get as many lefty-lefty matchups as possible for guys like that. Let's see. 1-1. David Cohen barking away in his microphone. 1-2 now. David Cohen does the Yankees broadcast on Monday through Friday, right?
If he does it with Michael Kay, I think so.
you get the Dodgers. So it's like a double whammy. A, you're playing the wild card, then you got to win it, then you got to go have a series with Los Angeles.
Strike three looking on Ronald Acuna and Trevor May shut down inning 1, 2, 3. Go with the Braves. We go to the fifth inning. Charlie Morton at 71 pitches, but the need of the order, Alonso, Escobar, and Vogelbach already homered already. Due up to start the fifth inning. So we go from a hearing aid ad to a motivational CEO ad. What? Let's see. So did you go home for fall break, I guess?
I actually am home because of the hurricane. Quick story time, if anyone's interested.
Sure.
So Monday, I'm walking back from my 6 p.m. class, and I got a notification that classes were canceled for the rest of the week because of Hurricane Ian. I got to go to school about 20 minutes from Orlando. So, the land had a little bit of destruction, obviously nothing too major, nothing compared to what happened on the west coast of Florida. But classes were canceled, and decided to go home. Everyone dipped. I think it was like 80-something% of the kids dipped. So I was like, yeah, you know what, may as well just go home, relax, catch up with what I need to do, meet up with some people, and here I am now.
At any point before that, had you had thoughts of evacuating, or did you think you were going to ride it out until you heard that they were canceled?
If classes weren't canceled, I probably would have stayed. I didn't really evacuate. Like, I just left because, like, some kids stayed, but most kids just left because, like, if there's no power and no classes, I mean, it's kind of, unfortunate.
Good graphic they're showing here, showing that maybe the Atlanta Braves hangover effect, not really as much of a thing. And of course, now showing the Mets 6 new faces that were not on your team last year that have been huge pieces for you this year. Charlie Morton going to his fifth inning of work. 72nd pitch to start the inning is in there for a high strike. Pitch that's not been called the same in that location so far this evening. It's been about a 50-50 type thing from the back, the home plate umpire. How about the back plate? Charlie Morton, the Salt Man, 73rd pitch, Alonso. Fly out to right field. That ball is caught by Ronald about 2 feet in front of the below the chop seating.
Good carry.
Oh, yeah. Ball. I think the ball is definitely jumping tonight. It's the wind had been blowing. The wind wasn't really blowing in this weekend, but it wasn't really as much of a factor, being that the hurricane was, east. The wind was kind of dead in the Atlanta area, but I mean, it looks like it's blowing out a little bit more tonight. I don't know if you agree, but it seems like it's a little bit more of a carry than it was last night. First pitch to Escobar, who reached his last time up as a curveball for a ball. He singled to left and, advanced Alonso in the third inning. Mets 8 hits so far tonight. Looking for number 9 here. Swung on and missed 1-1 now to Eduardo Escobar. Next time Lindor or Alonso having a bat, I have a story time or, another comparison to make between the two of them, but we'll wait for when that time arises. You see DeGrom sitting with Lindor in the dugout. 2-1 now. The changeup missing away. I mean, as Charlie's gotten older, it seems like he became a Zach Wheeler type pitcher where he got better as he aged, but this year just really not a lot of that. A lot of times he's had a hard time locating, as we're seeing this inning of work again and another 3-1 hole to a great hitter. Don't know if the Atlanta bullpen is currently at work or not. I would assume that Jackson Stevens is still ready and waiting as he was, inning and a third ago. 3-1 pitches in there over the heart of the plate, and it's a full count. And if you're Escobar here, you're probably swinging at anything close, but at the same time, Charlie's missed way off the plate a couple times already in this frame. 3-2 pitch. That ball is going to get down for a base hit in front of Eddie Rosario. He's got to cut it off cleanly, which he does so. Escobar with a second hit, both from the left side. That'll bring up Daniel Vogelbach with a chance to put the Mets right back in front. And it looks like that will be it for Charlie Morton. The Green Onions have come on to play in the organ system in Atlanta, and that means one thing: Charlie Morton's night is done. And, if this night didn't get any more interesting, it has now. Both pitchers not able to get through 5 innings. And Charlie Morton exits with Escobar at first, 1 away, top of the 5th inning. And it will be Dylan Lee to face Vogelbach with a chance to turn 2. And it looks like they'll be right back on ESPN. I actually like that bullpen move. I'd rather save Matzik for later in the game. And Dylan Lee didn't throw many pitches last night. So if it works out, I like the move. But I'll tell you one thing about Dylan Lee a lot this year, Hayden, is, he had a great summer month, but he kind of started having a little bit of arm fatigue, had a rougher fall. But his biggest issue is we brought him in so many occasions like this to see lefties, and he walks the guy. So that's something he's got to avoid here. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to bring him in to see Vogelbach and for him to end up having to face Canik because he walked him. That's kind of been the most annoying part about Dylan Lee, who was the Game 4 starter in the World Series last year, walked the bases loaded, and Kyle Wright had to come in and clean things up, and the rest is history. But what do you think? Do you think maybe Buck Showalter goes to the bench here to get Alvarez or Darren Ruff, or do you think he keeps Vogelbach knowing it's still the mid-innings?
Well, Darren Ruff is on the IL.
Gotcha.
And he was probably on the verge of being sent down. Alvarez is going to be pitch hitting for Vogelbach. I don't know. It's I get it. It's the 5th inning, but it's kind of pardon me. It's kind of a high leverage situation, I think.
Vogelbach's already hit a nuke in this game. He's already been on base twice.
Yeah, I really think it's a high leverage situation. Really, every single at bat for the rest of this game is high leverage. Probably just wants to put in the righty.
Yeah.
So you have that lefty-righty matchup, I guess. With Alvarez, he's been hitting he's shown, signs of hitting the ball hard, but it's a high leverage situation. He doesn't have the best speed. I'd hate to see a double play here, but same thing for Vogelbach, I guess.
And now, granted, I'll give you this for a little bit of maybe a little bit more hope, is that Dylan Lee's also a rookie himself. So, he's not having to face Kenley Jansen or Rafael Iglesias, guys that have been there, done that in the majors for a long time. Dylan Lee's just like Alvarez trying to figure out his way in the majors, and there's a good chance that the moment gets the best of one of them. He's ahead of 1-1. The catcher of your guys' future. 0-2 now, swung on a miss. You think the plan is to let Tomas Nido's contract go through, and at that time you end up having Alvarez and Parada, the Georgia Tech draftee, as your guys' catcher platoon in a couple of years, or at least just your catcher combination?
Yeah, if you want, during commercial, I can give a little rundown of the catcher position for the next couple months, years. 0-2, popped up, and that's out of play. Let's stay right here. Slider. 3 straight sliders to start the at-bat. Interesting approach from Dylan. I will say, though, I'm not crazy on Alvarez being called up right now. I get it, AAA, the minor league season's over, but for a dude who's just getting acclimated to AAA, a month and a half ago, he was in AA. So, he just, he's only a month in AAA, and maybe you guys looked at the Braves and seeing what Grissom did in high A and AA and thought that you guys could use some of the same magic. But only so many players could do that. True. I get it. Alvarez is known for his power. He's known for his pop, but for a dude who was getting acclimated to AAA, who struggled starting off in AAA, started to
seen these
get
pitches either.
the power back, and then you throw him in a situation like this. It's kind of like, I get it. It's, when Darren Ruff wasn't doing anything, but still.
You would have thought that they would have called him up a little bit sooner, for a series against, teams like DC and Miami.
He was the youngest player. He was my age.
Ironic how things go. As we get older, we're like, wow.
And I met him in spring training, and I stood next to him, and I'm like, yeah, you're a big dude.
He's a short king, though, isn't he? He's like 5'8".
He's short, but he's very bulked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like upper body is all muscle.
He looks a lot like Wilson Contreras in a way.
Yeah, he's like he's not like, I don't want to use the term like chunky.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more for a guy like Alonso maybe.
And not even tubby.
I just think he's really built. He has all of his fat is muscle. I mean, not to make this like a workout, talk, but all of his fat is really muscle. So it definitely slows him down, I guess.
2-2 pitch is full now. So he's seen a bunch of pitches here. Nodding his head, shaking it around. He's ready to go. And he's worked the count full. As I talked about, there's been a lot of times where Devin Lee has come in to face lefties, and I know that the pinch hitter has kind of put a wrench into what Snit had planned, but he's walked a lot of guys in situations where we haven't needed him to. Alvarez looking for his first major league hit. And what a time it would be for the New York Mets. A late time call. I think he's trying to take in the moment for sure. See him blowing on his bat, giving it a kiss. Jeez.
Yeah, I still don't get why he's up. I mean, this isn't a Disney movie. He's not gonna
full count swing on a miss.
Like, for example, like two nights ago on Friday, when you had that 9th inning extravaganza, you put Alvarez up. It's like, Buck, this isn't a Disney movie. He's not going to be, he's not going to hit the go-ahead grand slam in his, first game. I don't know. Like, I get it. A lot of people don't want McCann. I get it. It's not like Alvarez is catching anyway, so what difference does it make? It's just taking bats over, I guess, Ruff, I guess potentially Naquin and Vientos.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, I'd rather Vientos at the DH spot just because we've shown some hope. Vientos has improved, I will say. With the power, with the ability to drive the ball, the line drive, contact. He's been improving over the last couple of days. Where Alvarez, he's still trying to figure out how to figure out AAA. So, I mean, it's kind of like, where a guy like Beatty and Vientos automatically blew up once they entered AAA. They played really well. So they figured it out.
Developments are all different, aren't they?
Varies each player, each team. It's wild.
0-2 to Mark Canner. Excuse me. That's going to be actually a fair ball roller to Matt Olson, and Dylan Lee comes in and faces two righties and gets out of the inning. So it's a halfway home from the Marietta area. This ballpark's about 9 miles that way to me. Literally that. Yeah. Wait. That's not correct. I'm trying to figure out the exact direction because I know how to, if I needed, I could get directions to Truist Park without needing any directions. I could go there off memory. It's it's that way. That's it. Just one of you. It's that way. And for you, you're probably like, I don't know. North, whatever direction that is, right?
New York is that way, so it would be
21-3 Chiefs. Jesus.
Roland, fantasy's helping me out tonight.
I need to make sure. So, Javonte Williams for me earlier. I was facing my friend Bennett. He might have been in the stream earlier tonight. I was facing, him, and he had Travis Kelce in the late window. What really screwed me over is that Javonte Williams, for your Broncos got out earlier. Yeah, and before that was not really having the most impact out there. And then he had Travis Kelce later, and that game was so fluctuated. Like Thursday night, he had a 70% chance to win. Then I had a 62% chance to win. And yeah, there's another league where I had Kyle Pitts because, I'm a Falcons and Gators fan. I'm more than likely going to draft him every chance I get. And TJ Hawkinson is my backup tight end, and I'm gonna try not to bench Kyle Pitts any chance I get, even though my Falcons aren't throwing to him. TJ Hawkinson dropped 40 for me on the bench, and Kyle Pitts a whopping 3.5. It looks like I'm still gonna win, but I'm at the point where I'm 4 weeks in, the Falcons aren't using him. I'm like, do I need to maybe put Pitts at the flex? Because Hawkinson's been on a good groove recently with golf. I don't know. Are you only a Broncos fan, or are you also a Giants and Jets fan, or Giants or Jets fan?
More so a Bills fan.
Oh, okay. Who do you cheer for when they meet up?
Usually the Broncos.
Are they on the schedule to play each other this year? Seth Lugo coming in?
Nah, not this year. Last year they did. I think they play each other in the preseason.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's really it.
See, thank you to RJ for joining. Good to hear. First pitch in there to Dansby Swanson for a strikeout. Let's go. Mets chant has broken out for a second time tonight in Atlanta. I don't know why my window screen is on my face. There it goes. 1-1 now. Excuse me, 0-2. Looks like he nubbed it right. He's having to take a minute. Patting Dansby on the back saying, I know you didn't mean to do that. Dansby 1 for 2 tonight. Didn't lead off with his second at bat for the Atlanta offense tonight for a homer. Put Atlanta up 1-0, and then of course sacrifice fly to deep center in the third inning. Allowed Acuna and Arcia to tag off. They both came around to score later in that inning. So, as we mentioned earlier, 3 home runs for the impending free agent in the series off DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett. He really wants his paycheck, and as a Braves fan, I really hope they pay him. Because, as much as Grissom could be the future, he's not defensively what Dansby is, and he's not the leader that Dansby is in this clubhouse. Being that Freddie Freeman is gone, he might be our captain nowadays. Fouling off that 4-seamer. Do you think after, guys like Conforto and other, guys like Syndergaard who left the Mets after a long time last year, you think there was really a shift in leadership with all the new moving pieces this year? And if so, who do you think became that person after the 0-2 just outside?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot. This team definitely has a mixture of, I guess, young talent and, of course, your veteran presence.
Yeah.
I mean, if the question's more so like, who do I think would be a captain leader role? I know captains aren't really a thing there, and that's a good stop by Escobar. They're out Swanson. I know captains aren't really a thing anymore. Like, I know the last two captains in New York were obviously David Wright and Derek Jeter, but I honestly wouldn't really be against bringing, the idea of a captain back, whether it's not, an on paper thing, which usually it probably won't be. But I think, New York, I think really kind of has its captains. I think for the Yankees, you obviously have Aaron Judge, and I think for the Mets, I really think it has to be Pete Alonso. I mean, it's very rare in baseball that you see a guy get called up and immediately make history. I get it. There's been great rookie seasons, but I think Alonso's is definitely one to remember. So yeah, I mean, I think Alonso is just great leader. Besides his elite playing style, I mean, immediately got called up and all-star since day one being called up. So I mean, like I said, besides his elite playing level, I mean, he's a great character, great clubhouse presence. Does great stuff in the community. For a lot of first responders, firefighters, and that sort. So definitely a great character. So I definitely think that he would be, I guess, the next captain or leadership role for the Mets, in my opinion.
2-2 to Harris now. Yeah, it seems like it's trending in that direction for sure.
Average major league curveball probably about 2,400 RPMs.
2-2 pitch from Lugo is going to be a comebacker, squibbing, it looks like, off of his foot, and a quick play from Guillorme, able to retire the fast Michael Harris. There's 2 up, 2 down for Lugo. So far, the Mets bullpen has come in and shut down the bleeding just a little bit. It's been 6 up and 6 down for the pen in entirety. Here's Austin Riley, who, of course, was hit by the hand in his last bat. That ball was hit 108. Did it get a piece of Lugo? I believe it did. I have a little bit of a glare to my TV, so I can't see every single piece of it. Young, thick Austin Riley in the box here, taking a first pitch ball from Lugo, who's really had his way with the Braves this year.
Harris, who has just retired 8 years.
1-0. Make it 2-0 now. To the
Say that they're team friendly, but they're not the $335 million deals.
Someone died. What?
Harris, of course, is just the
That's
rest.
not ever
Someone
pleasant news to
died.
hear.
The Jets and Steelers game. How does that happen?
2-1 now, swinging in the dirt.
Apparently, someone fell off the escalator at the Steelers game.
Oh my God,
How do you do that?
that'll kill you. That's for sure.
Yeah, but like, how do you fall off an escalator?
It's sad. Oh, 2-2. Sucks even worse if he's a Jets fan.
Well, they got the W today. Very.
I know. He's like, oh yeah, we won. Ah. Ooh, well, at least not many people can say they won out seeing a Jets victory. So well, that's a way to go out for sure. All prayers to his family though. 3-2 now to Riley. He's staying very far away from the third baseman here. You know, the three balls have been way outside in the left-hand batter's box. And the two strikes he's had were debatably in the dirt too. So different approaches here from Riley. That pitch is going to be lined right at Lindor. Snags it on a hop and a throw. Pulled Alonso off the bag for just a split second, but plenty of time to reapply for the third out. And we're through 5 innings complete from Atlanta. 4-3 Mets due up. I believe it's Giorme, McCann, and Nimmo. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's either Dylan Lee staying out there or if the Braves go to Tyler Matzik. And I would not be mad at seeing Tyler Matzik, who has starting experience, if we see him for 2 innings, knowing that he hasn't worked yet this weekend. Terry O'Brien joining in, a big Mets fan from Ireland, says he would love to see a Mets comeback. Yeah, this game is not over. You got both fan bases represented here, and we know that this game means a lot. It's been back and forth all night, and it seems like it's calmed down here for the time being. But who knows? At any given moment, the momentum might spark back the other way. Yeah, Ireland.
Good to see the game around the expanding around the world. I know a lot of games are being played in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a couple of series in Mexico.
They got a Munich one next year, a Berlin run, I believe.
Germany, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. I know the NFL and NBA are over there too. But the coolest thing is that Great Britain is making the World Baseball Classic this year. And I was listening to Talking Baseball last week, and they made a great point knowing that, soccer, of course, is always going to be the most global game, or football, as they like to refer to it as. Basketball is really creeping in on there, being, the second most global sport, meaning it's played everywhere for sure. But one thing that they didn't mention, they mentioned about baseball, I should say, is that they have the chance to maybe become that second sport if all goes well, and knowing that it's really popular in Asia, South America, of course, North America. They have some stuff going on to get kids playing it more in Africa. It's a little bit more easy for them to adapt to than, American football. So there's a good chance that, Africa, we might see some more baseball soon. And, Great Britain, I believe another European team making the World Baseball Classic for this March. Is that Max Scherzer snagging routes? That's funny. Was that Scherzer and DeGrom are snagging routes with each other? Look how funny that is. That's how you know they're like, all right, we're done for the weekend. Let's just fool around. But yeah, I think that'd be really cool if fans like Terry joining us from Ireland tonight, which I'm sure it's, towards the middle night hours for you there. If baseball was able to really take command and maybe push basketball to the side and be the second most global sport, because it's got a chance to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that, baseball popularity, it's definitely been going down over the years.
Yes.
But, at the same level, I feel like it's also expanding to the extent abroad. But I just think when it comes to applying to the youth, it's really hard. I feel like a lot of baseball fans are much older.
Mhm.
I feel like when it comes to maybe high schoolers,
We're
middle
exceptions.
schoolers, I think when it comes to like high schoolers, middle schoolers, elementary kids in grade school, all I really want to talk about is football and basketball and
Steph Curry and LeBron James and Patrick Mahomes. And
that stuff. And it's that's great too. But what about Pete Alonso and Mike Trout and Aaron Judge and all those great guys. So I feel like baseball's popular with older people.
yes,
People
that's part
that
of
are
why.
maybe 40, 50 plus, which is unfortunate.
Strike 3 to Guillorme. That was probably give me a call. I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets got one back this inning. I was one retired. Dylan Lee in his second inning of work. This would be the big out for him, seeing James McCann, because you like his odds with Nimmo lefty-lefty. I know the Braves like to play the matchup game as much as they can. And I know McCann's 0 for 2, but this is probably the biggest out that Dylan Lee's going to have to face so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard when you're, 8, 9 hitters or, 0 for 4 type guys. I mean, I get it. Guillorme's a contact guy, but he's been pretty cruddy for, the last, 30 games he's been in. And obviously McCann's been
How's he been defensively this year, Guillorme?
McCann.
No,
His defensive metrics, Guillorme or McCann?
Yeah, we talked about McCann earlier.
Yeah. McCann's defensive metrics definitely increased compared to last year. Do I think he's a top tier defensive catcher? No, but I think he's definitely his framing has definitely gotten a little bit better. Glove side has definitely increased, but there's still calls where he kind of moves his glove like 20 inches.
Yeah.
But yeah, also offensively, he's a character. Like I said, it's hard when you're 8, 9 hitters. You're gonna pull this stuff, and then you have Nimmo, who he's been struggling in the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really hard to get something going. I feel it's like the only guys I really have trust in this lineup are your 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters, and unfortunately, that's you got a whole other lineup there to try and do something, and it's hard when you're sitting ducks. I mean, I'm tired of seeing McCann leaving 3 guys on base.
Big strike there, Dylan Lee.
Leaving 3 guys on base. So I get it. The absence of Marte is really brutal.
Yeah.
I think every Met fan and every baseball fan can see the consequences of it.
When you guys signed him, I'm like, oh boy! Like that whole day when you guys got Canna and Scherzer and Marte, like I was like, whoa, okay.
We got like Scherzer like a week later, yeah. That's
Canna, or not Marcana, excuse me, James McCann, foul ball. That scared me just a little bit.
Yeah, I knew that was going. Yeah, he's not hitting a home run.
I did mention 3 at bat. This is the big one for Dylan Lee to get on the right side, and he fell behind 3-0, so not the greatest start. So we're right back to anyone's odds here. I actually sat right down there, 4th of July, right on those seats. I didn't sit there to start the game, but we had a rain delay, middle innings, and everybody left. My dad was just watching the webinar with my AirPods, so we sat right down there, and we Brendan Donovan about hit a ball right to me. We're playing the Cardinals that night. So pull holes hit. Yeah. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball to third. Swung a ball 4 for sure. And there is 2 away. Tag applied.
Throw get hurt?
Line.
Oh, damn it.
Real. Wow.
Be Nito time.
No, one thing I'll say about Nito is it seems like he always comes through for you guys when it matters. Again, I don't watch you night in, night out.
You're correct.
It seems like he's not the greatest offensively, but it seems like when it matters, he does get the big hit.
His numbers are very good with runners in scoring position. Is he clutch? But he's good with hitting with runners in scoring position.
And
unlike McCann, who is a ground out, strikeout machine.
And I said this to a couple of my friends who are, Braves fans the other night. We were all upset that we blew that game to Washington, and Escobar found a way to get you guys the victory over Miami on Wednesday night. As we'll wait for the first pitch to Brandon Nimmo as they played Under the Sea, the Nemo song for him to walk up. So that's kind of corny by Matthew Kaminsky, the Braves organist. They were mentioning how, well, I made the point, I'm like, you guys always talk down on your lineup a lot, and I get it that maybe it doesn't have a lot of the spark that so many other lineups do, but when you walk the bases loaded, as Tanner Scott did the other night, the Mets will make you pay. And that proved just true. So, as much as, like, maybe you guys don't have the power threat, and I don't want to jinx anything knowing that, you've already hit 2 homers tonight. You don't have the power of, like, other lineups like the Dodgers, the Cardinals. If you guys work the count, which you guys have an ability to do so, there's times where your lineup is just as dangerous as anybody, because if you walk the bases loaded to a 98-win team, yeah, they're going to make you pay, See, shout out to the 10 people in here tonight. I got 4 from Hardcore, I think 5 from my channel, and 1 from the Twitch. I hope a couple people from your channel came over to say hello. I think we saw some in here earlier. 2-1 to Nimmo. High, ball 3. That's something you don't want to do. You don't want to walk Nimmo if you're the Braves, because it brings up a switch hitter, and it really doesn't really make any sense to bring in another pitcher knowing that Lindor is going to be hitting from whatever other side you don't see him from. So if you bring in the righty, doesn't make any do, and then McNeil's right behind him. So 3-1 on the way, pitch 25, and it is in there for a strike at the knees. Full count. Crowd making noise. One of the biggest pitches we've had in a couple innings here in Atlanta. Sellout crowd all weekend. Sellouts 40, 41, and 42 this weekend. And 3-2 pitch on the way. That ball is fouled down the left field line. We'll do it again. Let's see. A lot of 4-seamers in a row. It looks to be that's what Dylan Lee's trusting right now. He's got a high pitch count, so I think he's having a little bit of harder time with the off-speed movement. We'll see what he goes to here. You don't want to walk a guy like Nimmo, especially with how he'll get in your head with the way he trots down the baseline. And there it is, ball 4.
So obviously Lindor coming up. You'd like to see Lindor do something productive. His numbers in terms of being clutch are maybe not too great, but they're also not bad, just about average. And I guess that will be it
for Dylan Lee. Yeah.
For Lee. Snitker will make the bullpen decision.
Trying to listen to okay, it's Colin McHugh. Okay. I was about to say I was trying to listen to who was coming in from the bullpen, but they showed it. I kind of know. I've been to a lot of games this year, so I know their walk-in intro songs.
So the former New York Met draftee will come up to face the Mets.
And he's with the Rockies for a little bit, and then before he found a home with Houston and Tampa.
Yeah, he's scattered to a couple other places, but yeah, we'll see what he can get done against Lindor. Lindor obviously.
Is he better from the right side or the left side? He is. Lindor is.
This year, I'd probably say the left side.
Ooh, well, he's going to be from the left side.
Right side. Actually, I think it's not really the same.
He is 0 for 3, but he's had 2 really loud outs. So
yeah, well, that summarizes him pretty well.
My nerves are back up. They kind of calmed down there for a little bit, but they're back on high alert.
Then obviously McNeil and Alonso right behind him. So we'll see if they can get a 2-out rally. I mean, we've seen the Braves do it, and we've seen the Mets do it a lot this season, get these 2-out rallies. And like I said, hitting with runners in scoring position is vital. We saw it in what inning? Where is it? Where they got the 2 runs in the third?
Third
inning. They could have easily got this game. It could easily be a tie game, but Fox was obsessing about that foul ball, and then obviously they weren't able to drive him in with no outs. So it happens, I guess. So we'll see what Mr. Lindor can get rolling. So I think the Mets will score another run. I hope so, Terry.
I believe they will. I think Atlanta's, if they want to win this game, they got to keep scoring. You don't want to get into a game where Diaz is in and it's tied or you guys are in front, because you guys win, the Mets are right back on the driver's seat and will more than likely win the East. And I don't think either team wants to have to battle in the wild card and have the Dodgers just sitting there waiting on us. Now, I will say this. I think the Mets have a better odds of beating the Dodgers 3 out of 5 than the Braves would with the rotation you guys have. But that's a story for –
And considering the Mets went 4-3 against the Dodgers, that's one.
We were 2-4, so that's a big difference.
And also, I mean, the Dodgers, I mean, we've seen them in the playoffs the past, 10 years?
Yeah.
They always choke. I mean, whether it's to the Nationals, whether it's to the Braves, the Cardinals, whoever, the Astros.
Giants.
Yeah.
I guess the Giants didn't really get them. Lindor liner foul. That was a loud strike one from Colin McHugh. With Tampa Bay last year was kind of their opener. Had nasty slider uses last year, and it's kind of been a little bit of a different story. He's had rough parts throughout the year. Snicker has kept faith in him. Not seen him in the opener role as much this year as, Tampa does with all their guys down there, but being with the task of having to see Lindor and possibly McNeil here in the 6th frame. 2 away and a 0-1 count. Here it is. Swung on and missed. There is the slider. It's 0-2. That's the risky thing with seeing lefties, Braves, going to shift a little bit more to the left side now with 2 strikes. With throwing sliders to a lefty as a right-handed pitcher, there's a chance to hang him. And the same thing with the curveball, and that's kind of why Charlie Morton had issues earlier tonight. And interested to see what he goes to here. 0-2 pitch on the way, and it's swung on and missed. He got him.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
A clean 6th inning for Atlanta. But you play 27 outs for a reason. This game isn't anywhere over, folks, so don't you guys go anywhere. Bottom of the 6th, it's 5-6-7 do it for Atlanta. Olsen, Darno, Ozuna with the strikeout, his last appearance. Darno with the RBI single drove into, and Olsen has been on twice, both via the walk. So, do you think this is an inning where maybe we see David Peterson, knowing that Olsen's leading off, and if a guy reaches, you'll see Rosario again in the same frame?
Yeah, I definitely think we could see Peterson maybe get an inning and a third, maybe push it to 2. I mean, considering right now we know that Lindor got out there with the 2nd strikeout on the night, stranded 3 runners on base so far this night. Going to the 7th inning with McNeil and Alonso, and I mean, I hate to throw out the white flag, but
it's not over.
Those are the 2 guys you kind of really are cash in on. The bottom of the lineup's been kind of quiet. I mean, really, your 7, 8, 9 haven't really done much.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
neither is ours, granted, though.
Not true, but yeah, I mean, it's really been a good night, obviously, for McNeil, Alonso, and of course Vogelbach. Otherwise, everyone else is kind of been quiet. I mean, Escobar too, obviously, but besides,
he's had 2 hits. Yeah. I mean, you guys are out hitting us 9-3. Like, you guys have been all over the base pass for sure. All it takes is that one hit.
You guys scored 1 run via walk.
Yeah.
And then 1 hit, got 2 runs in, and then the home run. So 2 runs, 2 hits, 3 runs. Yeah.
So I know you were gonna tell us a little bit earlier. Do you mind going into that catcher discussion you're talking about for the next couple of years with the possibility of McCann moving, Alvarez, and and Parada as the future, and
Yeah. So with Alvarez, I mean, he'll probably That's an interesting sign. So yeah, I mean, as of right now, I would probably say something around the lines of. You could really expect to see Francisco Alvarez on the MLB roster for the New York Mets coming into the 2023 season. And then I guess the question is, what do you do with James McCann? Well, there's multiple options. You could push him in front of a bus. No, being realistic, you'd probably figure out a way to.
Ooh, Olsen, that ball
is gone.
Is gone. Matt Olson
Sayonara.
has come back to form in September. That is much needed assurance for the Braves. 27 outs though. Seth Lugo looks like he hung the curve. And the lefties have made him pay to right center field so far tonight. 5-3 Atlanta.
So yeah,
Wow.
Showalter letting Lugo go 2 innings. Never understood that, but okay, whatever works, Buck. You probably know more than me. Yeah, so I guess getting back into your catchers thing, when it comes to McCann, probably try and figure out a way to get rid of that contract. If you could try to expire it, kind of like what you did with Jason Bay. I know, Gio,
Yeah,
you're
they
asking
mentioned it earlier, yeah.
Yeah, but not till Lindor, obviously. You could try and figure out some way to expire that contract, get rid of it. I mean, I don't think any team would even pick it up, or I think trading him's out of the books. So yeah, whether you just give him a Bobby Bonilla, pay him whatever you want, or just expire that contract, you have the 2 different opportunities. But yeah, I mean, I'd say you really try and roll with Anito and Alvarez. I wouldn't want to, buck on Alvarez a whole lot.
Yeah.
Going in, considering he is a rookie. So obviously, you're going to want to have trust in Ito, which I think you do to the extent. So right now.
And I can say the same thing for the Braves catcher core. A couple years, not to cut you off, a couple years ago, we had Alex Jackson, Shea Langoliers, who, of course, is doing good with Oakland. Alex Jackson has not panned out in the majors. He got traded in that Duvall trade last year, and then I think he's in the Brewers organization now. We even had another guy named Jonathan Morales, who I think for some reason the Braves released, and he's in the Mexican leagues now. I'm surprised they didn't keep him for depth. He was a 21-year-old at the AA level who was okay, still had signs of progress, but it's hard for catchers, especially at a young age. Not all of them are these guys that, even Contreras was on a make or break year for us this year where we're like, well, is this guy going to be the guy? Or, there was plans for this year for Manny Pena to be the backup catcher, and somehow, Contreras goes on and becomes the National League DH out of nowhere. So, catchers are a thing that always requires depth, but you don't want to use them in the wrong way. But keep going with what you're saying.
Yeah, so you'll probably roll with Anito Alvarez. Parada, you got 2, 3, 4 years down the line for him. So that's not until the future, I guess.
Yeah.
And then ambitious being ideal. Maybe you could see, a duo of Parada Alvarez. One of them could catch, one of them could DH. But we're talking, 3, 4 years down the line. So it's frustrating with McCann. I'm done with the James McCann experiment. He is a Jason Bay. No, Gio, he yeah. That's something I've said 1,000 times. Lugo
that was a hanger.
Guy.
Hanger 1-1.
Yeah, I'm done with the James McCann experiment. It's been a horrible thing. Jeff and Fred Wilpon signed Jason Bay. Steve Cohen signed James McCann. Call it even. Simple as that. Just a horrible signing. I was a little worried when the Mets brought him in, although I was kind of a little looking forward to what he would do. But the sample size, I think, was the biggest issue. And he just hasn't really been what he hoped to be as his, reserve catcher spot in Chicago. He's just been horrible. Hasn't really done much to contribute. And he's more been
he was the backup in Chicago, too, wasn't he? It was mostly Grandal that had those at-bats.
Grandal, and he caught a no-hitter. Oh, he must be good. No, he's been really – oh, he caught 2 no-hitters, actually. He had the bind, and then he caught Giolito's, right? I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was Giolito.
It was whoever it was. Whoever it was in 2020. Giolito, yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm done with the McCann experiment. And
I'm sure you guys thought going into it, 3-2 pitch to Ozuna, first swung on a miss, Lugo getting a big second out there on the two-seamer. Going into it, who was your catcher in 2020 again? You named him earlier.
We had
Wilson Ramos.
Wilson Ramos, and then for like a month we had Robinson Chirinos, but it was more so Ramos.
So
honestly, kind of rather him.
I understand y'all's excitement, because he had good splits going into it, and you guys hadn't had a splash signing, quote unquote, like that in a few years, knowing that Darno just never panned out for you guys. Eddie Rosario is going to be thrown out on a great play from Lugo to end the inning, and that will retire the side. And Matt Olson leadoff homer, and Lugo comes back to sit down the next 1, 2, 3. It's McNeil, Alonso, Escobar. 3-4-5 due up for the Mets going into the back third of the game now. 5-3 Atlanta. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like I'm sure that you guys were somewhat excited knowing that you didn't think he was going to be worse than what Darno was as a Met and what Wilson Ramos was, but just seems like it never panned out. Maybe, I mean, I kind of look at it similar to the Azuna signing where he was great for us in 20, but when you look at it now, it's like, well, that was really only a 2-month sample size. Is that really the player who we thought he was, or did he just have elevated numbers on a weird contract year? But I don't really know how good the catcher market was that offseason. It might have not been, like look at the shortstop market this offseason. You got Dansby, Xander Bogaerts, Trey Turner, Carlos Correa. And it's stacked. I don't think the catcher free agency market was like that at all that offseason, was it?
Yeah, I mean, catcher depth and free agency. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's not a whole lot of catchers that offer both elite defense and elite offense. I feel it's just one or the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. You'll have maybe a couple guys in the mix. I mean,
Will Smith
is not really doing much offensively. He's more of a defensive guy now. I mean, like you said, Will Smith, he's, I guess, probably one of the, top 1, top 2, top 3 catcher.
And that's why they have Austin Barnes to keep him fresh.
Yeah, and I mean, Real Muto, he's kind of having a good second half, so that's good to see for him, obviously. But then, like I said, you have your Jacob Stalling type guys who are just a defense completely guy to carry a, young rotation or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, you don't really see and now it's more important, I think days like Mike Piazza, I think like the Piazza type players are not really a thing anymore, I feel. I get it, like we saw from Salvi last year. Salvi, he hit 40-something homers, but was horrible defensively. Mike Piazza, home run power machine, not the best defensively. But now umpires, the strike zone, it's so much more complex. And next year with this whole, automatic strike zone thing, it's so much more harder that you need a top-tier defensive guy behind the plate and even a guy to catch a, good pitcher.
Yeah.
Again, the difference in games 1, 2, and so far here in game 3.
So here's Rasa Iglesias here. I think he's had an inning of work in each of the games so far. He's facing a lefty, a righty, and a switch hitter, so technically 2 lefties. So interesting decision here from Snit. I would have thought maybe he saw Matzek. I would hope that he's in the 8th inning. I'm afraid of Kenley for most things, but also don't want to get ahead of myself. There might be a situation where Diaz is pitching the 9th inning and not Kenley Jansen, William Contreras joining from the chat. How you doing, man? Good to hear from you. 0-1 to, 0-2 now to Jeff McNeil, top of the 7th. 5-3 Braves here in a game that's been a swing of momentum all night, but the Mets meet of the order here, a chance to get them right back into it. Slap the other way and foul to McNeil. It'll stay 0-2. 12 people in here. We've had a good crowd for most of the night. Guess that says 2 things. The game's been entertaining, but also we've kept them engaged. So I guess props to us, right? Wonder if the Bucks are back in it yet. I heard that they were driving, and it was 21-10. Iglesias, 0-2. Chopped on in the dirt and foul. McNeil, a little reaching there. That's a type of thing, type of spot you don't see him swinging this at. Appreciate it, David. Says we're great hosts. Give him an LGM. He wants an LGM from you, Hayden.
LFGM, let's get it, man.
I can't say it, but I'll let you handle it.
Let's go Mariners. Let's go Marlins.
Let's go baseball. Baseball. Right? Check swing. He did not go. It's 1-2 to Jeff McNeil. Battling alive here. Iglesias came over at the trade deadline from the Los Angeles Angels for Jesse Chavez and Tucker Davidson. Tucker Davidson was a 27-year-old TikToker who had not shown anything for signs of improvement in the Atlanta system over the years. Jesse Chavez pitches poorly there in the closer role, which I don't know why the Angels would put him there, but pitchers go there to die. He got DFA'd and Atlanta picked him right back up on waivers, so we literally exchanged this guy who potentially could be our closer for the next 3 years after this season for Tucker Davidson, the guy who got blown up in Game 5 of the World Series. Just It's funny how baseball works. It really is. 1-2. That is
That
a
works.
base hit by McNeil, punching it the other way. And the tying
Death
run.
taxes and McNeil getting on base. The 3 guarantees in life. So yeah, McNeil, nice opposite field contact. Just, bat to ball contact, flicks the bat to the ball and finds a hole just off the edge of the bat. That's what you like to do for Mr. Pete Alonso coming up at bat. And I guess if you're Alonso, just hit a line drive, get on base. Like I said, pass the baton. Don't be the hero. Pete does that too much often where he comes into situations like this and he's like, oh, let me swing the bat and hit a 500-foot homer. Just, get on base. No need to be the hero.
He's up 1-0 in the count.
He's had a decent night so far with a single and a walk. Just
Not just a slugger, just a good hitter all the way around.
And I guess that, that's the thing with all, power hitters.
1-1 fouled the sinker back down the right field line. AJ Minter is up and tossing. Has no hat in the bullpen. Don't know what that's about. Maybe they're getting his pitch comm. Looks like they're getting his pitch comm ready. That seems to be.
I noticed that with Trevor May before. They didn't have
Yeah,
that.
I think they do that.
Probably for the pitch comm.
I'm seeing a lot of old head analysts always complaining about it this year. 1-1 to Alonso. That ball's in a no man land.
That's not surprising.
Arcia calling him off, and there's a big first out for the Braves, retiring Alonso, but not out of the woods yet. Here's Escobar, who'll be hitting from the left side, and then I guess Francisco Alvarez. If you look at our ESPN thing here, it says there's 10 people in the Mets lineup. It didn't take out Vogelback. It still has Alvarez in here. That's funny.
So yeah, Alonso getting under that. And yeah, by the way, McNeil with 3 hits on the night.
Yeah.
Is having a really good series and a really good season overall. His batting average is now .326, which ties him with Mr. Freddie Freeman for overall.
Who?
Freddie Freeman.
Who?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how things go there.
I've heard of that guy, I think.
Yeah, I've heard of him too.
I didn't mean that in a jeering way. I just mean it's like, dang. He wasn't really more of it. Was he really a Met killer? I mean, it seems like it was more of he killed the Nationals more than anybody. Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is Freeman's just been around the longest. Was around the longest, I guess.
Yeah, Harper's
I mean, he was,
in the division
I mean, he was with y'all since what,
2010.
010, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, he's just been around the longest. So, I guess, he's had the opportunity to do more damage than a guy like Austin Riley or Ronald Acuna, and that's
Escobar into left center field. Harris calling off the blind man Eddie Rosario, and there's 2 away. I'm sure Friday night when you saw Eddie drop both of those balls in the second inning, you're like, is that man still need eye surgery? I mean, it's funny because
it was the lights.
You see Michael Harris wearing glasses out there, but not Eddie. So that's the most interesting part. So here is Francisco Alvarez.
Jesus Christ, why do you bat this guy?
Who would you guys put in? Maybe putting Naquin back in this situation?
Vientos or Naquin. This dude is not doing anything. What are you? Buck Showalter's an idiot. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
That ball is a 2-bouncer out to Arcia, and we go to the stretch. 5-3 Atlanta. Game 4 from over. 9-1-2 do up for the Braves after the stretch. Arcia, Acuna, and Dansby Swanson, who, of course, had the homer earlier. And it'll be interesting to see what the Mets go to out of the pen. You think it's a Drew Smith or Ottavino type inning, or do you think we see the lefty?
Who's what is it, bottom of the order?
Yeah, it's Arcia.
9-1-2.
Yeah, it's all righty, so it won't be Joely or David.
Who's been used so far? It's been
Lugo and May.
And Lugo. I wouldn't be surprised if Peterson gets in. I saw he was working in the pen before.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, knowing that we have all righties due up.
He was in the bullpen.
I mean, I wouldn't complain. I think that favors the Braves in a matchup wise, but I don't know. Maybe he's better analytically versus righties. Yes, because William Contreras is joining us live from the chat. I agree. I'm surprised that Contreras did not get the start tonight. I'm also surprised that Eddie Rosario got the start over Robbie Grossman after the weekend that Eddie's had. But yeah, that's very true. You'll be the DH next year, Willie, not Marcel. If all goes well. Depends on the trade packages. If Atlanta has to ship off a prospect with him, we're probably going to have to eat the salary. And probably keep him one more year and then DFA him after 23 because it's only 2 years left on the deal. But it was really – the path was before he had the other DUI. Because you know how, like, Hayden, I'm sure you know how, like, the Braves farm system is looked at as it doesn't have as much depth as it used to. One of the plans was to ship off Ozuna this offseason, knowing that his contract just hasn't worked out. He's had legal issues. The Braves aren't really the type of organization to take on things like that. To ship him off to a team that's needing a DH, maybe his splits favor that ballpark, that ballpark better, to try to get some sort of prospect back in return and maybe dump the salary and add youth to the farm system. But I don't know if that'll be that easy. They might have to attach some guy like Grissom or Kyle Muller, who are highly regarded prospects in the Braves system, to get him out of here now. So we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see. You know how, in the 60s, Hayden, we had the race to space? This offseason, the Braves and Mets are going to have another race, and it's going to be the race to get rid of McCann and Ozuna, and whoever does it quicker.
I think Ozuna has some – I mean, he's a –
off the field, he's a little bit of a –
yeah, I'm going to keep my mouth quiet. I obviously don't want to get anything bad on the stream, but
oh, you already said the F-bomb once.
At least – Ozuna plays decent ball. I mean, who knows? Maybe he can go to the Vegas Raiders. I mean, they have a great team with convicts. So, I mean, maybe he can go to the Raiders, but at least Ozuna
A's move there. And
I mean, at least Ozuna offers something.
Yeah.
McCann, I get it. He's a catcher. But I'm talking with at least offense. I get it. He's not really a defensive guy, so you put him as a DH.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Defensive, he's terrible. I don't know how the hell he won a Gold Glove in St. Louis. No. He won it as a center field. No, he's a two-time Gold Glover. He won it in left field with St. Louis in 18. And he was a center fielder with the Marlins back in the day when they had Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton. I don't know where the fielding went and how he got it at the time, but Jesus, I mean, there's been so many times where he just slides at a ball and it's behind him. Now, like when we play in ballparks like Philadelphia, it's kind of okay because you know how have I classy me by the Marlins to help out the Phillies, but what's up, Lake? And I'm not gonna lie, you on me on Twitter a lot. Hey man, on Twitter, I have no filter, and I apologize if I've done that. I think he has a YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken, Philly Central. But good to hear from you, man. Sure, I'm sure you're tuned into this Braves Mets series just as much as the Brewers games this weekend. Good to hear from you, man. So it is Drew Smith. What repertoire does he bring, Hayden?
Smith really is an interesting character. Started off the season really well. Nice fastball, nice slider. And then he got into, before he went on the IL, he just started throwing meatballs and just couldn't find the zone. But now he's been iffy a little bit. So you hope right now just find the strike zone is my biggest thing with Smith. He we could see some swinging and misses from him. Pins the corner like we've seen there. Typical reliever, 2-pitch guy, decent velocity, and yeah.
You've seen the changeup and the slider so far. 2-1 now, blowing the 4-seamer right by him. So there's the three-pitch repertoire you're talking about. I was watching a Jolly Olive video yesterday. The big Mets fan. He's part of the John Boy Media Networks. And he brought up, it was some analytical video that, baseball nerds would like us would enjoy. And he brought up Drew Smith in the conversation, on the list of the video. 2-2 now to RCFL on that one. Down off the screen towards the Atlanta dugout. I didn't realize how long he had played for you guys. Didn't they say he'd been with you guys since 17 or 18 or something?
He was in the d'Arnaud trade.
Oh, okay.
Remember, he went over to Tampa Bay.
Huh.
Oh no, it was Lucas. No. It was the
He said he
Lucas
was-
Duda. It was the Lucas Duda trade.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
sent
okay.
Duda over to Tampa Bay, and we got him in return with, I think, cash considerations.
I
And
remember that now.
It's kind of been in and out. He had like Tommy John and some arm injuries.
Yeah.
But I guess last year he showed some hope, and then good first half, and second half's been the story.
2-2. Arcia taken close ball 3. It looked like the umpire had cocked back a little bit to say strike 3, but it looked like he was just stretching himself. So full count to the Atlanta second baseman. The city where Mickey Mouse lives, Orlando, Arcia, Florida. 3-2 pitch. That ball is lined down the left field line for a fair ball. Oh, excuse me. It's a foul ball. I'm sorry. Again, I have glare on my TV. So that's
I couldn't tell.
That's my mistake. I'm like, no, the way that was a ground roll double, right? And then I'm like, oh, foul. He jumped on that slider though.
Oh yeah, no, that was foul.
Who was the guy that you traded Joely Rodriguez for in that 1-for-1? The guy that had the dreads for y'all last year?
Miguel Castro.
How's he been for the Yankees this year in comparison?
Pretty bad.
So it's kind of like
a lost cause. Yeah.
You guys got a lefty. They got depth. It was kind of so-so.
Yeah, left. They're both. Yeah.
Arcia back up the middle, leadoff single. 2-hit night for him.
Yeah, Castro's. Miguel Castro is just overall, in my opinion, a really bad guy. A really bad pitcher. And I know it sounds like corny for me to say, but this dude just walks the ballpark. I mean, I think if he's able to, I guess, at least figure out the accuracy with the strike zone, I think he could be a decent pitcher, but he just walks.
How old is he now?
Like
what, 27, 28?
30, like early 30, I want to say. He is 27. Okay.
Oh, I was right somehow.
I thought he was like 30 on the dot.
Ronald Acuna here. Arcia leading off from first, 5-3 Atlanta, bottom of the 7th. That first pitch is out towards Joey Cora into the Mets dugout. Our TVs are perfectly in sync. I hear him right now.
Yeah.
I'm hearing the same announcers twice. It's kind of funny. I think we're better, though. We at least know a little bit more what we're talking about. We might not be as professional as them, and not on a. We have 12 people compared to the millions they have, but we're holding up. It's kind of like we're the Peyton and Eli Manning cast to this broadcast. 0-1 to Acuna, fouled back off the screen. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tyler Matzik in for Atlanta in the 8th inning if all goes well. Being it's what due up for the Mets. It's
I think it's the bottom of the order.
So is that Canna, Guillorme, and McCann?
Last person was Alvarez. Yeah.
Okay, I think it might actually be AJ Minter then since he was warming.
So
even though it's
7, 8, 9.
righties.
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss. As Hayden got me there early with it. 1 away. Acuna had the 3-hit night last night. Hasn't gotten one tonight, and that'll bring the Atlanta shortstop Dansby Swanson to the plate. He's swinging a hot stick recently. Bottom of the 7th inning. It's been a back and forth ball game all night. 5-3 Atlanta lead here. Atlanta's had some trouble on national broadcast games this year, though. They find a way to lose games late, so that favors you guys. We've had some of the Atlanta chokes on some of the big time networks this year: Fox, ESPN, MLB Network, Apple TV, you name it. Want to know to Dansby. For the playoffs, Hayden, are you more of a fan of the TBS broadcast or Fox Sports?
Well, I guess when it comes to the Mets, I mean, I do like the Mets radio caller, Howie Rose with Wayne Randazzo, but
and TBS is still getting Ron Darling.
I mean, I really don't listen to much of what they have to say, being honest. I mean, usually in the past, I guess it's, usually been Joe Buck for the big games like the World Series.
Now Joe Davis, the Dodgers' current announcer.
Yeah, and I like him. Joe Davis. Sometime I've been seeing that he's been calling a lot of NBA games.
Really?
He's calling some
One
Knicks
and two
games, I
to
think.
Dansby now. I don't think
Yeah,
he's
he's
done Knicks
calling.
games. I think you're thinking of Kenny Albert. He's the guy with the deep voice. That's Marv Albert's son.
Thought he did a couple Knicks games. Or I know. Yeah, I swore last year he did.
That'd be interesting. Sure, he could if he had the choice. He's got a lot of talent. I respect him a lot. 2-2, ball in the dirt to Dansby.
Let's see if he
Change up spiked. Like, I know Mike Breen is like your usual play-by-play, right? And Kenny Albert's like the backup, which is two really famous announcers. They do a lot other than just the Knicks.
You know, the guy waiting on deck,
Joe
2-2.
Davis.
Michael Harris was scouted.
Dansby Swanson.
Many of the teams.
Michael Harris on deck. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Ball 3. Drew Smith has loaded the count to the shortstop.
Joe Davis.
I hate listening to him when it's a Dodgers national TV game because you just know he still wants the Dodgers to win. So it's like, oh, you're great, but when it's a Dodgers game, I can't really listen to you. Cody Bellinger has done it! Ball 4, and Drew Smith lost Dansby. And the
Yeah,
three-batter-
I guess he did do a basketball game then. Interesting, because like I know he's done some college football and stuff.
Joely Rodriguez coming in to see Michael Harris, by the way.
All right, interesting. Yeah, Drew Smith is pretty trash, so that's not surprising. Yeah, so because I said I know Joe Davis, obviously mainly Dodgers, mainly baseball. He does some college and some NFL, but yeah, looks like he did do one basketball game. Interesting. Yeah,
I like that they're staying on the shot.
Yeah, Drew Smith is he's a character. That's one big thing I worry about for the Mets in the playoffs is the inconsistencies offensively and the bullpen. Like, I mean, I really don't. You ask me in the bullpen who I trust. I mean, based. I mean, it's really only Edwin Diaz and Adam Ottavino. I don't trust Seth Lugo. I don't trust Drew Smith. I don't trust Tyler McGill. I don't trust Dolly Rodriguez.
Do you think there's a chance Edwin Diaz pitches the 8th inning at this rate, even if it's 5-3, 6-3, 5-4?
Yeah, why not? Doesn't I mean? Is there an off day tomorrow or who? Is there an off day?
No.
Monday,
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, I guess go for it.
And they've played like 500 ball recently. Interesting enough, there's a reason they beat us and Philly a couple times the last few weeks. They're hitting stride. They're hitting stride at the right time to mess things up in the East a lot. I know they beat you guys in the series, about a month and a half ago. We lost to them opening week, but that was a completely different Braves team and a completely different Nationals team.
Yep.
Yeah, Soto and Bell and no Acuna, so a lot of differences. Still no excuse that the Braves lost that series. Maybe a lot of the reason why this series has a lot of high leverage is Atlanta lost games like that early in the season, where they sleptwalked. 50 games in, Atlanta had won only 23 times. You guys had won, 34, 35 of your first 50. So. So, game moves on. Joely Rodriguez going lefty on lefty here. They're looking to turn 2 on the quick rookie. Michael Harris is second, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Lined out to center to Brandon Nimmo his first time up. Struck out swinging in the third and grounded out to Guillorme, most recently in the 5th inning. Joely Rodriguez in 54 games of work, a 4.66 ERA, a 48 in the third innings pitched, a strikeout rate of 26%. Sure. And a walk rate of 12%, so just around the major league averages for both of those comparisons. And we'll be just right back. I'll handle everything in the process. Here's Michael Harris, the second, taking a first pitch called for a strike, and it's 0-1 to MH2, Money Mike, as he's been referred to around Atlanta recently. 19 homers on the year, wearing the goggles tonight, something I hadn't seen from him so far. Kind of weird look. Joely Rodriguez, of course, we mentioned earlier in the inning. 1-1 now. The changeup missing outside. Harris is very dangerous to the left center gap. Are they chanting? They're not. I don't know if they're chanting a certain word in Atlanta. 1-1, swung on and missed. I don't know what Harris was looking at there, but that's at a shoot top. Strelli gets one by him in the dirt, and it's 1-2 now. The changeup. So sinker, changeup to start this sequence out. 3 hours in exactly in the Hardcore Sports Network. Swung on and missed, and Harris goes down pretty much without a fight. And that's a big second out for Joelle. No double play, though, and it means that he will have to retire Austin Riley from the right side of the box. And we'll flip it down here on the ESPN cast. Riley is 0 for 2, had 2 ground outs, Switzerland door, both hard hit, but he's been on base once, and that was via the hit by pitch that Bassett kind of plunked him, not intentionally on, but he got him on the. What jersey you have on?
I got Acuna.
What? I was about to say, you have a Braves jersey on? What are you doing?
Yeah, I've had it on the whole game.
Actually? What in the world? I thought my eyes had seen you. I'm like, did you just put that on to change mojo or something? Okay. Caught me by surprise. 0-1 to Riley, make it 1-1. So you missed a 4-pitch strikeout to Harris.
Gotcha.
Arcia from second led off the inning with a single. And then, of course, Acuna, Dansby Swanson with the 1-out walk. So we're out. Riley, a basic, and put Atlanta up 3, and that's a big insurance run in these late innings, knowing that the Mets lineup can do it at any time. And Kenley has pitched 2 save opportunities for Atlanta this weekend. So, loading the bases Friday night at 1-2-3 inning last night, 2 completely different sides to him, it seems. But Atlanta, if you'd like to tack on some more runs here, knowing that Kenley's probably not going to be at his A game tonight, and that's just speaking the facts. 2-1. Chopped on to third base, and over there to make the force tacking on the bag, and I said that incorrectly, is Escobar, and the Mets remain in the ball game. We go to the 8th inning. Joely Rodriguez comes and gets the job done. And it'll be bottom third of the order due up for the Mets. Canna, Guillorme, and James McCann. It looks like they'll be facing AJ Minter. We'll probably find out here sooner than later what the plan is for the Braves. Excuse me. Shout out to the 8 people still rocking with us 3 hours in. Yeah, this game's on a snail pace, hasn't it, Hayden?
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers. And now, by using a small remote device called a computer glucose monitor.
What's going on in the Buccaneers game? Let's see.
Halftime. But I believe the Chiefs are leading by a good margin.
I saw it was 21-10, and Tampa did have ball after it was 21-3, so maybe they clawed back into it at some degree. I wouldn't be surprised if Brady did. Let's see, I'll just ask my friend.
Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily,
do you do any fantasy leagues?
For football? Yeah, I'm in 4. I'm the commissioner in 1, a friend group in another. Third one I'm in with a man YouTuber who's whooping my butt right now, RBT. Watched him since I was a lot younger, so I thought it'd be funny to join a league with him. And then a 4th one is a league with my sports broadcast friends. So I got 4 different types of people I'm in with. Baseball, I'm in the fantasy finals.
Nice. Fantasy football, I just have 2. One with my friends and 2 with my fraternity.
Okay.
And I am 2-1 in one of them and 3-0 in the other. So, and I'm leading in both of them, so that's some good news. In my in my fraternity one, the loser, whoever gets in last place, has to do the Waffle House challenge.
Oh.
And that's considered the nice punishment. So I'm hoping I'm not there. I mean, I am in second place, and it's out of
12 people, so I think I'm in good luck.
So far, right? Long season.
True.
AJ Minter on. I'm surprised they didn't go to Matzik. He hasn't pitched all weekend, and he has good success against righties and lefties, being that you guys have 2 righties due up this sitting.
Mets can't hit left-handed pitching for their life, so that's probably why.
I would have thought they would want the guy that is fresh, but we'll see. Mark Canna in to see AJ Minter 1-0. 7-8-9 due up for the Mets. 5-3 Atlanta, top of the 8th inning. This game nowhere near over. AJ Minter set at the belt, taking his time here. Set up inside is Darnell, and that pitch is line, base hit down the right field line.
2.
And Canna will have a double because Acuna with his second bubble
Bro.
tonight. And actually, he's going to be back into first base.
Much rather you
Safely.
at 2. That's an unfortunate turn of events because, I would have rather him at second. I mean,
Rather
Just
test his arm.
well, did he hustle down it? I mean, he probably thought he only had 1.
Yeah, maybe. Because,
But then
Acuna, that's twice tonight where Acuna's bobbled it on the exchange. And then that was a terrible throw back in. What are we doing? That's just a terrible play from both sides.
I think he could have made it. Oh, actually, no, never mind. I thought that was when he bumped the ball. Much rather him at second. I mean, considering Guillorme has been – Vientos is pitching effective board. At least just walk. Don't even swing the bat. Because then you have McCann on deck, and he's a double play machine. McGroundout, as everyone calls him. So I'd rather you'd be in a situation.
Yeah. Last Sunday Night Baseball stream I did, AJ Minter had an implosion in the 8th inning for Braves. So, yeah.
Here, Canna, why are you not like – okay, there he is. Come on, Mark.
Vientos taking a strike, 1-1. AJ had been a little bit over the place this inning. One to another piece of the Mets' future, Mark Vientos. We saw Alvarez earlier. Here's the other young piece on the roster. Silence him on the crowd, and between the two of us, between every pitch, being that the action is building back up. 2-1 now. Good take there from Mark. So you got a mark on first, a mark at the plate.
Double marks.
You'd rather have double marks than a double play machine, right? 6th pitch incoming for AJ Minter, and it is swung on and missed, blew it by him at 90 miles an hour. I guess he was maybe sitting at the fastball. And it's 2-2.
So it seems the Mets.
AJ Minter, pitch number 7 upcoming. It's high, and he's flowed the count. Oh. Hayden might get his wish, a walk.
He has some power, but like I said, with these rookies right now, I just get on base, pass the baton.
I'm just as nervous as you are. Canna off for first. Look to him. Here's the 3-2. Swung on and missed. He got him.
Point.
And there's the cutter in action.
It's like, don't even swing the bat. I mean, it's like, now we
Well,
got double
that would
play.
have been strike 3 regardless.
I'm gonna say this: if James McCann,
What's Nito?
Nito's in
Yeah, Nito is pinching.
or hitting, you mean?
Yeah, Nito is pinching it currently.
Oh, I was gonna say because never mind then.
Say it for the hell of it.
I was gonna say because if James McCann came up and hit a 2-run homer, and I would like pay for everyone's college that's watching.
That's a pretty safe bet right now.
Yeah.
1 away, top of the 8th inning. Tomas Nito, who homered in Friday night's affair. Pick off back to first. Canna back in there without a dive. Who's the Mets first base coach?
Wayne Kirby.
Wayne Kirby, okay. Wayne Kirby and Eric Young Sr., and then we got Ron Washington and what's Cora's first name?
Joey.
Joey. That's right. Joey. Is that what you guys call him up in Queens? Joey.
Alex's brother.
Oh, they actually are related. Actually, maybe I
Yep.
thought that was a hunch earlier this year.
Nope.
Want to
They're
know?
related. Yeah,
I know
I
too.
wondered that first too. I was like, any relation? And I was like, yeah.
That kind of made sense. I wonder if Adam Ottavino has told Joey any funny stories about what he heard from Alex last year with his time with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Like, oh, your brother was like this last year, X, Y, and Z. 1-1 to Tomas Nido. AJ did not pitch the last night, but I think he had, 16 or 15 pitches Friday night. So it's been hit or miss for Atlanta over the parts of his career. Seems like a lot of relievers are. It's a year-to-year thing with a lot of them. 1-1 to Nido.
That's
Check
a double.
swing, and Arcia to Swanson to first, and there was a double play, and the Braves get out of it 1-2-3. Holy cow. Bottom of the eighth we go, 5, 6, 7. Olsen, Darno, and Ozuna, who I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Grossman or Contreras at bat. But the nightcap moves along. Hey, Chris, this isn't over. Kenley is human. He's already pitched like 50 pitches this weekend. And the Mets are not that same ball club anymore. Hayden can say that as well. Like, this is I wouldn't be surprised if we met again in the NLCS. Hayden, I wouldn't be surprised if we're playing each other again. 13th of October. Either here or Queens for game one of another series. But yeah, I get as a Yankee fan, you're probably cheering for us. I appreciate that. But yeah, this game isn't over. Kenley still got to pitch, and Atlanta still got to get another turn to bat. So I'm an Atlanta fan. I've seen it all, man. With my Falcons, with my Hawks, my college team is not from Georgia, but they've had some rough moments too. So sports gods are not fun. That's why I've not said anything about the conclusion of this game. Also, because I'm a Mets fan right here. So So Joely only faced 2 batters last inning, and there's Olsen leading off. You think there's a chance we see him out there for this at bat, or do you think we see Diaz?
I would honestly say, just for the sake of it, considering Diaz hasn't pitched in 3 days,
Maybe you see him face Olsen, and then Diaz comes in.
probably.
Just get 2 outs, and then if all goes to plan for you guys, he gets 5 outs. Kind of like we were talking about earlier, right? We'll see. Because the ESPN graphic over here is ahead sometimes, other times it's not, so I don't know. Again, this is the biggest game of the year for each of these two teams. 9-9 in head-to-head matchups so far. Started off in a 2-2 May 4-game split in Queens. The Mets would go on to take 2 of 3 in Atlanta in, the second week of July. And then we saw each other, 70 times in a matter of 3 weeks. Mets took 4 or 5 up in Queens. And Atlanta took 3 or 4 back on their home field about a week and a half later, and that set up for this series, which was 9-7 New York going into it. Yeah. Go Phils. Ooh, a lot of Philly fans in here tonight. Welcome in, man. Yankee fans melt down in October? Yeah, I don't see that. Sorry to Chris in here. I don't see the Yankees making it out of the AL this year, respectfully. I had the Yankees as an ALDS out. I think I talked to you about that before, Hayden. But being that they're gonna have to face Tampa or Cleveland, I think that they'll get past. I was hoping they were gonna see Seattle or Toronto, because I think in a best of 5, one of those guys could beat the Yankees. But I think they'll probably handle Tampa, who usually is the kryptonite for the Yankees, right? I think they'll probably handle Tampa or Cleveland pretty easily. But if they see Toronto, Houston, or Seattle in a best of 7, I don't think the Yankees will come out on top. We'll see, though. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. You never know. 1-1 to Olsen. They have not shown anybody warming up. As I would guess it's either Diaz or if not, maybe. I mean, we haven't seen Ottavino yet. Swing and a miss of 1-2. Lefty deception there from Joely, and that one's in the dirt. Olsen couldn't hold up. Olsen hitting 241 now. In the advanced statistic categories, he's had a better year than a lot of people have seen, but as I mentioned earlier, it's just been – I think a lot of us have understood that he's not Freddie Freeman, but it's just been the clutch moments have just not been there. And Freddie found so many ways to put the ball in weird situations in play that Olsen just hasn't yet. But as we wait the 2-2 pitch down low, I kind of draw a comparison of this year's Olsen Hayden to last year's Lindor, being that, they both had blockbuster deals to a new city. Going from the AL Central to the NL East was tough for Lindor. He didn't know any of the pitchers, but he got better as the year went on, got better this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar story for Matt Olson over his next 7 years and change in the Braves uniform. 3-2 pitch, got him looking strike three. 93 miles an hour, right over the right quadrant. And Olsen goes down looking via the sinker. And that brings up Dansby as they're continuing to show the highlights of his homers off DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bassett this weekend. So maybe he's got one more in him here to give Atlanta a 3-run insurance. So you got Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso due up, right? I would guess it'd be Kenley Jansen in the 9th inning for Atlanta, but maybe if he's unavailable, they do go to Tyler Matzik. I don't know, though. And the lights have come on for Joely. It is Edwin Diaz. So we called that one pretty easily, didn't we, Hayden? Edwin Diaz coming out to not trumpets, but the tomahawk chop as we go to another break from Atlanta. It's a whole face, Travis d'Arnaud, and more than likely it says Ozuna in the batter's box, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Robbie Grossman. I'm going to take a bathroom break. You got it for a second?
Yep.
Sure.
So obviously Edwin Diaz is coming in for final 2 outs of the 8th inning to make an attempt on getting out Travis d'Arnaud and Marcell Ozuna in the DH role. Obviously, Edwin Diaz has not pitched in a couple days. Obviously, Edwin Diaz's last appearance was against the Marlins just 4 days ago. So it's been a hot minute for Diaz. So, obviously you want to keep him fresh. Considering, his pitch count has been pretty low the last couple of weeks. So like I said, you want to keep him fresh, especially if, the scenario for the playoffs and obviously the series against the Nationals coming up. So, smart to keep him fresh. We'll see how things go. Obviously, in the 9th inning for the New York Mets, they will have the top of the order. So that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. I could easily see this going 2 ways. Easily get Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil retired 1, 2, 3, or they're going to pull what they did on Friday, get some bases loaded, no out shenanigans and score a run and, 2 outs, bases loaded, 1-run game, 3-2 count type thing. Anything could happen.
That's Kenley.
But we'll see.
I can see why the Dodgers didn't give him a contract now. I really can. Makes sense. The Dodgers, I can see why they let him walk now.
We'll see. He was struggling Friday, lights out yesterday, so it's, I guess, 50-50 with how he'll go tonight.
I honestly wouldn't be mad if it's Matzik in the 9th. I wouldn't. Because it's 2 lefties.
Those are Edwin Diaz's splits. Obviously, that elite strikeout percentage, 51%, where the league average is 22. So he strikes out more batters than any other reliever can. Obviously, 116 strikeouts in 60 innings. That's pretty rare to see. Likely to be the NL reliever of the year.
Right at Nimmo, 2 away.
Yeah, likely to be the NL reliever of the year, no doubt.
Sure.
Could even get some Cy Young votes. Don't be surprised.
Here's Trumpet versus Trumpet. Look at Dia. They're showing him. They're like, is he going to react? No, guys. He's pitching. He's like, yes, I know.
Contreras. I was about to say, that's not Ozuna's song.
No. I thought it'd be Grossman. I thought they made me go from the left side.
He's smiling. That's funny.
He's like, this little guy.
I'll tell you though, Narco, it's a pretty like fire song. I mean,
Missouri was
not
using it for every third down versus Georgia last night too.
like not to get sidetracked, but like
Oh no.
every like party that I've been to this year plays Narco. I don't know why. Like my fraternity, when we have our Tropical Thursday party, like they always play that. I don't know if it's because for me or just because everyone thinks it's a fire song, but
Too.
hey, I mess with it.
I did too. I think I have it as my alarm song every once in a while when I need one. My Alexa will just come on. Blurp, 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 blurp. Just out of nowhere.
Yeah. No, it's you look at some other entrances like Sandman.
Wow. Diaz made quick work of the guys though. 4 pitches. And if there is a bottom of the ninth inning, you know he'll be out there. Go to the ninth. Buckle your chin straps. National League East. Maybe being decided within the next 45 minutes here. In this next 3 to 6 outs. And,
so
I hope it's not Kenley. I really don't.
Top of the order here.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, Nimmo, Lindor, and McNeil coming up to bat. Lindor, rough day at the plate, hit the ball hard, but unfortunately, it's a result-oriented game, and expected stats don't take precedent, I guess. Nimmo obviously hitting a walk, and McNeil with a great day, 3 hits and an RBI. So we'll see if they can get something rolling. This would be their last opportunity, or else they're going to have to wait until tomorrow.
If this is Kenley Jansen, I can't think of any other time he's pitched 3 games in a row this year.
Yeah, that is one, I guess, kind of deterrent. The 3 days in a row, like a lot of Mets fans are like timid with doing that with Diaz.
But the only thing is, like, with Diaz is he doesn't get his pitch count up. You saw with Kenley Friday night, he'll throw 30 pitches.
He can get it up at times though.
I guess. But doesn't seem like it's Kenley's pitched in more games. I saw that that was Diaz's only 40th game of the year, but I know he's had 2 inning, 5 out stuff for you guys. But I mean, the issue with Kenley is that it's just kind of what the Dodgers fans warned us about. Is he'll have Heredia is actually coming in to play left field for Eddie, so that's a defensive adjustment. It is Kenley Jansen, so learning that on the fly from our graphic over here. Gosh, I'm nervous. I'm sure you are too.
I kind of know the game's over. I've accepted defeat.
No, it's not over. It's never over with Kenley. I mean, he may be the reason we haven't clinched the division already. With the blow and save in St. Louis, blow and save in Seattle.
So Jansen is in. Heredia will go out to left field. So 2 moves, obviously, for the Braves, defensively and obviously on the mound. And we'll see how things go for this Mets squadron. Nimmo stepping up to the plate, trying to get on base or do something productive in the leadoff role.
Heredia,
it's like a 1-2-3 inning or like a bases loaded.
It's one of the 2.
Like a double play to end it or some mumbo jumbo.
It's one of the 2, man. Either that or the cutter's gonna hang for a homer. It's one of the 3 results. Atlanta crowd is loud, but usually that doesn't help. Kenley, you can see I'm already getting really finicky. Oh, these are 2 really good teams. It's sad that both of one of us is going to have to play in the wild card. But I understand the Giants and Dodgers from last year now from afar. Yeah. First pitch from Kenley Jansen in there for a called strike on Brandon Nimmo. How many hits has Charlie Morton allowed tonight so far? He allowed what?
9
hits. 9 was the total.
9. Final slash line 4 1/3. 9 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 5 Ks, 2 homers.
0-2 on Nimmo.
Nimmo getting in an 0-2 count. That's a big surprise.
Shout out to the 15 people in here. Wow. Who are here to see this climax. And trust me, with Kenley, it might be a long time. It might be long enough where Diaz gets a chance to do the same thing. Rosario and Eddie talking it over in the dugout, saying, hey, man, we didn't really do our jobs tonight. 0-2. Jansen. Foul tip down the left field line, and we'll do it again. Looks like he didn't mean to. Really,
Yeah.
they're showing an MLB The Show ad in the middle of this.
Yeah, it's very frustrating to see Nimmo getting these 0-2 counts. Something we've seen way too often. I feel this season.
This is my fingers right now on my lap.
Obviously, the ballpark sounds pretty ecstatic, pretty loud.
0-2.
That's a
Nimmo
ground
right to
out.
Dansby. And there's one away in the top of the
One
ninth
away.
inning. That was a big out because the leadoff guy is never good news. But righty lefty, I mean, I know you said a couple times this game like Nimmo hasn't had the results, but like from the times he's played you guys, he's done his part.
He has
So-
been a ground out machine when he leads off an inning. Whether that's to start the game,
He
whether that's
destroyed two of Strider's starts versus you guys this year by like a 10-pitch leadoff walk. Like
still.
I respect him. Like the dude's a grinder for you guys, and I understand why you guys wanted him. You know, we're so happy when he was healthy. So
Yeah.
who knows if you guys pay him or not? I wouldn't be surprised if you did. But again, you know more than me. Here's Lindor. First pitch swung on and fouled. That's a 1-1.
This team has a fascination with swinging at the first pitch. I don't know why, but Lindor coming up has a 1-0 count already. Lindor, not the best day. 0 for 4, 2
Couple loud
Ks. He
outs.
did hit 2 balls hard, but like I said, baseball is a result-oriented game, so results take.
Lindor to Olsen. He's going to take it
Round
himself, and there are 2 away. And Jeff McNeil representing the Mets here are 2 away in the ninth. Alonso on deck. They'd love to get it to him and Escobar. 17 people now in the chat.
See, I told you. I said it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning or like bases loaded shenanigans.
You could still load the bases, right? 8 and 9. You could still
That's
load them. This game ain't over till it's over. Shout out to the Mets fans still sticking around right now. I know Friday night and Saturday, you guys kind of. I was there Friday night and I saw Saturday night. There were some blue jackets walking up the stairs early. I'm sure we did in Queens during that 4 out of 5.
That
meeting.
is the ball game.
Is it?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I am. I would bet some good money on it.
Acuna is there, and the Braves have swept the Mets. The magic number is 1 for the Braves to 5, Pete. It's been fun. I got to say, Hayden, this is rough. We've battled all year, and it's unfair that one of us is going to have to play in the wild card. Job isn't over for the Braves. The magic number is 1. They need 1 win against a non-Sandy Alcantara-led Marlins team this weekend. It's the same magic number as the Brewers have with the Phillies to clinch the last National League spot. But Hayden, this is going to be a rivalry for the next 5 or 6 years. You know, you guys are only going to get better. You're only going to spend more money. Your prospects are only going to come up, and Atlanta's going to have the same issues. You know, having to pay Dansby and Max Fried in a couple years. Like this is going to be the start of a 5 or 6 year run. And don't remind us that Miami might turn into a good team in the next year or two with their prospects. And the Phillies, if they can figure out how to do it right in the luxury tax, you know, they're a day away from getting out of the longest playoff drought in baseball. So final tonight, Braves win 5-3. But man, it's that was what a game. Game 50, 159 for each of these clubs. The Braves are a 100-win team for the first time in my life. I think they won 100 games in 03, but I was born October 28th, 03. So maybe I was alive when they were still playing. I doubt it. But yeah, a fun night from Hardcore Sports. I'm sorry for you guys, Hayden. I know we knew going into the stream, one of us is going to win, one of us is going to lose. But I appreciate everybody watching. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just to go on like a 2-3 minute tangent, you know, listen, this is what I say. Going into this season, I think both of us expected that this was really going to be a tough division.
We literally looked at this series in April. Like, I know I didn't know you at the time, but I know a lot of Braves and Mets fans were like, that might come down to that series right there.
And it arguably, you know, did. You know, and I think, you know, obviously going into this season, I projected the Braves to win the division. I had the Mets as a wild card team. I think I had the Mets at like 95, 94 wins, and that's what they were projected at according to, you know, a lot of predictions, ESPN, Pacoda, all those people.
Yeah.
And then, they went a little bit above and beyond expectations, which is great. And, listen, this is what I say. Last year, I could like to compare this to the Dodgers and the Giants, the NL West,
Oh,
to the
Dick's
NL West.
playing goods. What are you doing?
107, 106 wins. That's rough. I mean, that really is. You don't see. I mean, last year the Braves won the division with 88 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate. It's crazy how baseball is, and like I say, you can't build your family. How your division is. I mean, geographically, it's a little interesting, but you can't build your family. Last year, Braves 88 wins. Probably would just make a wild card spot. I mean, 2019, 97 wins.
If the Braves weren't in the National League East, they wouldn't have made the playoffs last year. There was like 13 teams better than us record-wise.
Yeah. I mean, look at the AL Central. Look at the Guardians, 90 wins. I mean, and they clinched at what, 87, 88. So listen, it's going to be an interesting battle. Obviously, the Braves win the season series 10-9. We've discussed that. Whatever. We know the clinching. We went over that. But, listen, it's going to be an interesting battle for years to come. I agree. I think both of these teams are really going to be competitive. And, like you said, teams like the Marlins definitely are going to be coming up. Phillies.
If they do it right, because, they've fricked up a couple of their upcomings before. So,
yeah, but, I mean, I think, overall, I think both teams have great core for the future. The Mets, you have Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte. You have some young guys and Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos.
It's just a matter if we pay that guy on my screen right there to measure up if our core is going to stay together.
And, we'll see, obviously. This year it's going to be a hot market, obviously. We'll see how the Braves, funds are looking. But it's going to be an interesting battle. And just to say this, for all the Mets people that are crying right now and triggered and for just anyone saying this is a collapse, this isn't a collapse. It took, like I said, the Braves, 4 months to come back from 10 games. Talk about a collapse. Talk about 10 games in 2 weeks. That's a collapse. The Dodgers last year, they were in first place for half the season. Did they collapse? Because they won 106 games, not 107? Is that a collapse? I don't know. I don't think so. I've never seen a 98 team that's probably going to win 100 games collapse.
You guys could still win the World Series. Like, this is...
Like I said, keep in mind, the Dodgers beat the Giants last year in the NLDS. Who won in 2019? How many wins did the Nationals have, actually, being realistic?
They were like 91 because they were behind us. And they were like, I think, a couple of games ahead of you guys. 91, 92 would be my guess. Braves had
93. 93. So, I mean, that's literally what, literally 93. Brewers made it with 89, the wild card. We were obviously...
That game was crazy, too.
That was. So, listen, I mean, tip of the cap to the Braves, they got good stuff. Of course, tip of the cap to the Mets, not really.
Screw the Phillies. Screw the Phillies.
Screw the Mets. Screw baseball overall. It's football time. No, but, like I said, unfortunate. This is how things turned out. It's baseball. It's exciting. We got 3 more days of Braves, Marlins, and, of course, Mets, Nationals. 2 teams, two playoff teams going against bottom feeders. So we'll see. Imagine anything could happen. Braves.
Imagine you guys win tomorrow, we lose, and all of a sudden all the Braves Twitter's like, oh crap, it's not gonna happen.
Twitter is. Honestly, I recommend to everyone watching this, don't even use Twitter half the time. I use it for sports and politics. That's literally it. You can't.
That's all it's for.
People. A lot of people should not be on Twitter. Everyone thinks that they're a GM and that they're an owner and they know what they're doing. But, like I said, I guess just to kind of finish my thoughts, the Mets are, they had an unfortunate, series. They pretty much picked the worst weekend to have their worst series. I think this was by far the worst series of their season, by far. And like I said, Mets are in the playoffs. Listen, so many teams, so many fans would love to see their team in the playoffs, whether it's a wild card spot, whether it's getting in as the last seed or the first seed.
You just got to get in and you got a chance. That's what the NFL, that's what the MLB, and NBA is maybe a different story, but NFL and MLB, if you get in, you got a shot.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing that I guess is kind of the changing factor is how the seeding would go. Obviously, taking a look-see, I believe the Mets would be expected to play the Padres, and then they would go on to play the Dodgers. Obviously, I think the Mets, if they were to win the division, which I doubt it, would much rather want to play either the Phillies or Cardinals, considering the Mets own the Phillies this season, 14-5, and beat the Cardinals 5-2. Correct me if I'm wrong, because they played an extra game against them, obviously. So
Yeah.
that would be much more comfortable. I get it. It's the playoffs. Anything could happen. But just for a resume, I guess.
Do you
Compared
want to know a big series that ended up in May that ended up mattering a lot more than we thought it'd be?
let's hear.
Second week of June, the Phillies go up. Braves and the Braves and Phillies catch fire at the same time. We had won 11 in a row, they won like 9 in a row. They go up to Milwaukee and they sweep the Brewers, including haters like first 2 blown saves of the season. That changed everything because the Brewers lost the tiebreaker, and they're showing the highlights on SportsCenter now of them not being able to get the job today against the Marlins. That changed a lot. And then, like baseball, everybody's like, 162. The real fans know every game matters. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And wow, what a turnout that ended up being because, the Phillies are loving that they swept that series. But, if the Braves would have lost these games tonight, I would have been circling back to all the games we lost in April and May when I was still ushering, knowing that those couple games, and maybe even games like Wednesday night where you guys found a way to win and we blew it, where I'm like, wow, that changed everything in the whole entirety of the season. But that's why you play baseball, But it's been a great night here on Hardcore Sports Network. We're actually one of my friends is a Braves content creator. He just started a live reaction to the stream, so I'm actually going to put the link in the chat for a raid if anybody wants to go over there and say Blake and Hayden sent you guys. I'll paste it a couple times. It's over to my friend On Deck with Tyler Redmond. He breaks down everything pretty much after every game. He's doing a live reaction right now, so we'll go by and say hello. So for anybody in here, make sure you guys go click that link. Tell them that Blake and Hayden sent you guys over, and we wish you guys a good night from the Hardcore Sports Network. I know we got classes tomorrow, Hayden. And, it's been fun. Hey, I do like the jersey though, and good chance we see you guys again. So keep your head up. You guys got just as much of a shot as we do. Baseball, anything can happen. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. This was a really good game, like I said.
Oh, yeah.
And we got about another month full of postseason games. And yeah, I guess let's go Mets, let's go baseball, let's go Braves, let's go
Mets,
every team, I guess. So yeah.
All right, well, we'll see you guys later. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at Mets Talk with Hayden and at Newsom Sports ATL. Actually, if I take off the banner, you guys can see our ats. Mine's right here, and Hayden. This is his name, all one word. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Make sure you guys go tell Tyler and say hello, and we'll definitely see you for another podcast episode and for some playoff wildcard streams here very soon. So you guys have a great night and take care. Now we sit here awkwardly while we wait for it. It's finished. So for anybody that's still watching, we'll